The battlefield lay in ruin, the corpses of warriors fallen. The monsters had begun to overrun the area. On the other side of the wall, rows of refugees lay and sat scattered, wounded and exhausted. Kyoya Hidaka called out, "Uncle," before he could finish. A hand pressed down on his head and cut him off. "I told you to call me brother." He, looking rough and indifferent, said, "Or at least call me by my name. This is Tenman Tsukishiro, an F-rank hunter." Kyoya frowned in displeasure and reproach. "Is it really okay for a hunter to bully civilians like this? He is an unawakened person." Kyoya Hidaka. After hearing him, Tenman Tsukishiro growled, "An F-rank with no talent, 20 years and not a single skill to show. What can you do, a true hunter? Must be someone like him." The person he meant stood solemnly on the high platform, SSS rank hunter Kakeru Amemiya. The events of the past were recounted. 20 years ago, monsters poured out from suddenly appearing gates. A hero appeared and drove the monsters away. Those who saved our world from the brink of destruction were the ones chosen by the system. That hero was Kakeru Amemiya. Hunters gained special powers. Besides him, there were many other skilled hunters. Among them, those who possessed overwhelming power were known as the Final 11, who fought stubbornly to prevent humanity's annihilation. The group of hunters confronted a terrible monster, but among the monsters there was a force wielding absolute power called the Demon Clan, whose strength far surpassed the rest. Back in the present, 5 elite figures stood facing the wall. Now, under the relentless assault of the Demon Clan, humanity had been pushed to its last line of defense. Kakeru Amemiya's gaze sank in gloom as he said, "6 of the final 11 have fallen, only 5 remain, and the demon forces are closing in on our last defense line." He continued with resolve, "But we still have one final chance. A chance to reverse all of this." The hourglass in her hand slowly hovered in midair. The time gate activated and opened, issuing a blinding light. Kakeru Amemiya stood on the high platform, explaining the gate behind him. A unique artifact that creates a portal to send someone back 20 years, the regression point. Kakeru Amemiya closed his eyes and made a grave decision. Only one person could pass through that gate. Someone must go back 20 years to stop the demon invasion. Tenman Tsukishiro was shaken, thinking, 20 years ago was when the Demon Clan was preparing their invasion. He probed, "So who should go?" A voice cried out, "Amemiya." The people wept and shouted together, selecting Kakeru Amemiya. The only suitable candidate was the strongest SSS hunter. It had to be him. They begged earnestly, "Please go, please change the past." Kyoya Hidaka mused aloud, going back in time would be nice. He gently teased him, 20 years ago you were just a child. Even if you really went back, what would you do? Kyoya's eyes sparkled as he confided his feelings. "Well, an unawakened person or an F-rank hunter wouldn't get a chance at regression. If I could go back, I'd like to see my parents' faces one more time." After hearing that, Tenman Tsukishiro reached out and patted Kyoya's head in gentle consolation. The crowd below cheered in unison, "Amemiya, Amemiya." The female mage placed a hand on Kakeru Amemiya's shoulder and asked kindly, "Why won't you accept?" Her eyes softened encouragingly. "You are the only one who can go back, defeat the Demon Clan and save the world." He listened to the encouragement and nodded to accept the responsibility. "No matter the cost, I will change the future." Kakeru Amemiya's eyes suddenly widened in horror as he realized a sudden danger was approaching. He took a fighting stance and shouted urgently, "Be careful." Black demon energy rained down, striking straight at the stands and the podium. The female mage braced herself and cast protective magic. A barrier appeared to shield everyone. Outside, the Demon Clan launched continuous fierce attacks. The barrier erupted, weakening steadily until it completely cracked. She thought in horror, no way the barrier could be broken that easily. The demon energy fully pierced the barrier and slammed into the ground at wind-tearing speed. A massive black energy mass hurtled toward Tenman Tsukishiro and Kyoya. He cried out in panic, "Uncle." He quickly grabbed Kyoya by the waist from behind, then put all his strength into pulling him away with both hands. Kyoya was thrown far away at high speed, completely evading the danger. With tears streaming down his face, he opened his mouth and screamed in despair, while Tenmin Tsukishiro smiled calmly, satisfied. The black energy struck him, producing a massive explosion. Tenmin Tsukishiro collapsed to the ground, blood flowing profusely. From afar came Kyoya's frantic screams, "Uncle!" Watching him fade, he kept calling out, "Uncle!" Tenmin Tsukishiro's blurred eyes fixed tightly on the small figure running toward him. Even gasping for breath, he managed a warm, reproving smile. "I told you to call me brother." After the demon attack, Tenmin Tsukishiro was thrown and landed beneath the time gate. A system notification appeared before his eyes, calibrating a temporal distortion. The unique artifact, the regression point, had been activated. The gate flashed and began to operate. Target: F-rank hunter Tenmin Tsukishiro, regressing 20 years into the past. The portal carrying Tenmin Tsukishiro's body, lying collapsed on the ground, slowly vanished. Then it closed with a great shockwave. Only a bare pile of rubble remained at the scene. Tenmin Tsukishiro had completely disappeared. The female mage stood dazed and stammered, "Who just stepped into the regression point gate?" Kakeru Amemiya went pale and exclaimed in fear, "Impossible." An emergency system alert appeared in the air. The system detected a causal distortion, confirming a serious anomaly in the subject. Deus Ex Machina temporal correction will be executed in 30 minutes. Tenmin Tsukishiro vaguely opened his eyes, thinking, did I step into the regression point gate? Even if an F-rank regressed, there's no way to stop the demon clan. What is this? This red system window. The system screen stabilized. Regression successful. Please check your current status. He raised his hand and pressed check. Could this be the status screen of Tenmin Tsukishiro in the past? Status: Name, Tenmin Tsukishiro. Age, 24. Level 2. Rank F. Traits: None. Skills: None. These stats. He stared blankly at the status panel. Am I really? Tenmin Tsukishiro couldn't believe it was true, wondering, am I really in the past? His eyes widened in amazement as a sound suddenly rang out. Tenmin Tsukishiro immediately hurried toward the source of the sound. The sound. He hid behind a large tree to scout the situation. Tense, sweating, he analyzed the scene. Goblins, so I'm inside a teleport gate. Damn it, even after regression I'm still scared of a goblin this size. Tenmin pressed his back to the tree and thought, to escape a teleport gate I must find an exit or complete the system-given task. I don't have a single skill, both are nearly impossible for me. What should I do? The system notification appeared. He watched as the timer began to count down, time remaining. Suddenly a razor-sharp blade flashed as it was drawn. The pack of goblins startled and raised their weapons in defense. They shouted to intimidate their opponent. The blade surged forward and cleaved the goblins to pieces. The head of one goblin was sliced off, flew, and rolled to a stop near him. Tenmin joyfully poked his head out from behind the tree and waved as if to ask for help. Of course, there's another hunter here if I ask him for help. But it wasn't a hunter at all, it was a bloodthirsty Chulain holding a blood-stained blade. Its eye glowed a dangerous blue as it turned to look in his direction. It aimed straight at the big tree where Tenmin Tsukishiro was hiding. This was a being with skills at a completely different level, the twin sword strike Chulain. Tenmin Tsukishiro judged it in panic. Even among hunters, it was known as a notorious monster. He felt despair. Why would a creature that had slaughtered so many hunters be here? Suddenly a cry for help pierced his thoughts. Help me. A young hunter was running frantically through the forest, screaming in fear. Something was slaughtering both monsters and hunters indiscriminately. Chulain stood directly before him, radiating suffocating pressure. Cornered, he blurted out in shock, "What?" The Chulain's grotesque face smiled wickedly. Chulain raised the bloodied blade high and swung down, aiming straight for his head. At the brink of disaster, Tenmin lunged out and grabbed the hunter tightly, pulling him away. Chulain's downward slash landed right beside his feet. If they had been even a moment later, both would have died as earth and stone exploded around them. The young hunter was still dazed, not yet composed after what had happened. He trembled with fear, tears welling in his eyes. Tenman grabbed the hunter's hand and dragged him, preparing to bolt. He led the frantic run through the forest and yelled, "Run!" Where Chulin stood, the slash had left a large crater in the ground. It bared its sharp teeth and growled. The two kept running headlong through the forest to shake off the monster. Tenman Tsukishiro panted, "Wait, let me catch my breath for a moment." He stopped, wondering more importantly what happened to that goblin earlier. "I've never seen anything like it." He silently blamed himself. "With such pathetic stamina, even after regressing as an F-rank hunter, I'm still only an F-rank hunter." Suddenly, Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes widened as he looked up at the emblem on his shoulder. He quickly recognized the symbol, the Night Crow Guild. Tenman Tsukishiro looked up and asked, "Is that the Night Crow Guild emblem?" The hunter honestly replied, "Yes, our guild should have sealed this gate. Hey, what are you doing here?" Sweat streamed down his face as he pieced the events together. No way, this is the site of the Night Crow Guild incident. Tenman Tsukishiro recalled the past tragedy. The incident where the Night Crow Guild was wiped out entirely by a notorious monster that suddenly appeared in a B-rank teleport gate. Even for an abnormal teleport gate, having the rescue team sent to it annihilated was unprecedented and drew massive public attention. "Anyway, we have to get out of here immediately." Tenman Tsukishiro lifted his head slightly and hurriedly asked, "Do you have a spare weapon? Let's escape together." The hunter anxiously opened his inventory and answered, "Yes, if so then." Before he could draw the weapon, an extremely powerful slash suddenly hurled toward him. The hunter was cut, blood sprayed everywhere. Pupils contracted, Tenman Tsukishiro froze in shock and horror at the scene. The hunter's bloodied arm was severed and fell to the ground. He quickly stood, grabbed the hunter's sword. Chulin lunged down from above at terrifying speed, swinging the blade straight toward Tenman Tsukishiro's position. Fortunately, he managed to raise the sword in time to block the deadly slash. The overwhelming difference in strength sent him flying backward. Tenman Tsukishiro was slammed hard into the ancient tree. Then he fell forward face first onto the ground. Tenman Tsukishiro spat blood and muttered helplessly, "Damn it, just one blow and I'm near death." Chulin's murderous intent surged as it drew its two blades and stepped closer. The system's countdown warning activated. Only a few seconds remained until Deus Ex Machina would be triggered. He tilted his head, seeing the numbers wildly in his delirium. "What are these numbers? I struggled to return to the past, and now I'm defeated in an instant like this. If it were Amamiya, would the outcome be different?" In a flash, Chulin was standing towering beside him, ready to deliver the finishing blow. Tenman Tsukishiro tried to get up, blood trickling from his mouth in helplessness, because a failure like me is the one who returned to the past. He regretted with tears streaming. Was the last chance to save humanity from the demon clan going to end so easily? When the countdown ended, the red system panel displayed, "Causal Protocol Deus Ex Machina has been successfully executed. The system will fully restore the subject's defects." The system panel slowly shifted from red to a stable green. The causal flow has been perfectly adjusted, granting an exterior trait null talent adjustment. The chance to acquire skills increased, and experience gained was multiplied by 100,000 times. Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes widened in astonishment. After reading the notice, he was utterly shocked, unable to believe his eyes, wondering, what, 100,000 times, not 100 times or 1,000 times, but... A stream of system panels kept popping up. Suffered severe damage, acquired endurance skill level 1, received 100,000 times experience for the corresponding skill. Notification panels flooded around him. The final announcement appeared. You have acquired endurance skill level 10. Tenman Tsukishiro was stunned, then erupted with hope. The endurance skill he had never been able to raise even one level during his life as a hunter had just reached max level in an instant. The system screen displayed the staggering stats of endurance level 10, reduces incoming damage by 25%, reduces the sensation of pain from damage by 30%, and allows movement even after suffering a fatal wound. Tenman Tsukishiro gripped the sword hilt planted in the ground and forced himself to stand. His body could move again. Chulin flinched briefly when it saw he was not dead. Tenmen struggled to brace the sword against the ground to steady himself. A notification appeared alongside his thoughts. Adjustment: the causal flow has been perfectly corrected, adjusting for the deficiency in his talent. He curled his lips in a self-mocking smile. You mean the system is rebalancing itself for an inept, talentless hunter? Tenman Tsukishiro recalled events from the past. The 100,000 times multiplier. Kyoya, I'm sorry I couldn't be by your side until the end. You must have been terrified being left alone. So that one day I can meet you again and change this world destroyed by the demon clan, I'll use this 100,000 times experience multiplier too. A gleaming blade was drawn with such speed it sliced the air. He rose steadily, gripping the sword firmly, his eyes ablaze with determination. Change the future, at any cost. The system panel reappeared. Exterior trait: null talent adjustment. First, the chance to acquire skills is greatly increased. Second, experience gained is multiplied by 100,000. Tenman Tsukishiro muttered as he stared at the system panel. I gained skills just by surviving an enemy's attack. It also listed the skills he could use. Endurance level 10 reduces incoming damage by 25%, reduces pain from damage by 30%, and allows continued action even after suffering a fatal wound. And because experience is multiplied by 100,000, it instantly reached max level. No time to overthink. Tenman Tsukishiro decided that with this power, he could survive and get out of here. Facing him was Chulain, wearing a devilish grin. It wasted no time and charged with both blood-stained weapons raised. Tenman gritted his teeth and waited for it to come close before swinging his blade in response. He spun and swung his sword with lightning speed, delivering a decisive cut that felled the charging enemy. At that moment, a host of notifications arrived. Null talent adjustment activated 100,000 times experience. Received swordsmanship skill level 1. Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes widened in utter astonishment. Then received swordsmanship skill level 10, further empowering him. Tenman Tsukishiro attacked Chulain more eagerly, his blade growing keener. He quickly staggered back dozens of steps. Seeing he wasn't an easy meal, Chulain began to bare its teeth in displeasure. The system screen didn't stop there. Swordsmanship had reached max level. Tenman Tsukishiro let out a sound. Had his swordsmanship really reached max level? His gaze seemed unable to believe the information before him. Normally, skills are either innate or earned through blood, sweat, and tears. Null talent adjustment is insane. The more he thought, the more confidently he tightened his grip on the hilt. Simply having this skill completely changed the feel of the sword in his hand. Is this the power of max-level swordsmanship? As he refocused on his opponent, it had vanished from his sight. Tenman Tsukishiro looked around in panic. Where did it go? It turned out Chulain had leapt into the air to spring an attack. Luckily, when he noticed it, he managed to block the deadly strike with his sword in time. The two blades clashed, producing a shockwave around them. Tenman Tsukishiro looked up at it with sparks in his eyes. Endurance level 10. Swordsmanship level 10 simultaneously activated. As soon as he gained the skills, he poured his strength into a fiercer assault against it. Finally, Chulain was forced to stagger backward. Chulain was no less clever. It knew how to retreat and how to advance to avoid losing positional advantage. This created a problem for him. The power gap between them was too overwhelming. Mere defense wasn't enough. How can I close that gap? It, still eager, swung its blade and attacked again. Tenman Tsukishiro gritted his teeth, trapped in a dilemma. He could only parry without making any progress. He began calculating alternatives. This can't go on forever. I have to read its next move. Focus, focus. The system quickly popped a reminder. Acquired perception skill level 1. Acquired perception skill level 3. Perception skill reached maximum level. At that moment, a strange light began to appear around his vision. While Tenman Tsukishiro was swinging his sword, he suddenly froze for a few seconds, his eyes suspiciously staring ahead. What is this? My vision suddenly changed. I can see the entire trajectory of everything. Tenman Tsukishiro gave a faint, confident smile and swung his sword in a completely different direction than before. I can see it now. His blade struck Chulin's blade at the most unexpected moment. This time it was unprepared and was knocked far away. It began to panic. Tenman Tsukishiro was still amazed. So this is the power of perception. I can grasp everything perfectly. The tree behind me, the positions of surrounding trees, even the movement of leaves in the wind. Perception truly is a top-tier skill. Is this the world high-rank hunters see? It seemed to sense that something was different about him. This time Chulin directly grabbed the two blades strapped to its back. Its gaze began to shine brightly and clearly. It resolved to leap up and attack. Chulin ripped a sword from its sheath with a jerk. Assuming a battle-ready stance, it lunged down from above, the two blades slicing the air with a mighty strike. Tenman Tsukishiro gritted his teeth and swung his sword with calculation. But Chulin's two blades were like supple waves. Locking onto his sword, he seemed to freeze in place, were those afterimages from its blade. Tenman Tsukishiro gasped, I can't block everything. In that instant, he had to retreat to preserve his life. Just one more step, fall back. The system screen appeared at the critical moment to save him. Acquired movement skill level 1. Acquired movement skill level 9. Movement skill reached maximum level 10. Even though he had calculated his retreat, this incoming sword strike was too strong. Through the thick smoke and flames, Tenman Tsukishiro was hurled dozens of steps back. He exhaled and muttered that he hadn't meant to be knocked back that far. From afar, it grew irritated at its failure to finish off the enemy. As soon as Tenman Tsukishiro gained the new skill, he felt a clear change. His legs felt so light. Right then, swordsmanship level 10 and movement level 10 activated simultaneously. I can do this. Chulin was struck off guard, and one side of its face was wounded. It stood dazed in place until he completed the perfect sword motion. It shot him an annoyed glance. Tenman Tsukishiro tilted his head and grinned mockingly. See something? He had succeeded in prodding Chulin's temper. Its anger filled the forest edge with dust and smoke. The two charged at each other, evenly matched, striking back and forth. It roared, baring bizarre fangs and claws. Their growing battle reverberated so fiercely that earth and sky staggered under their energy. They generated a cataclysmic shockwave through the mountains and forests. On this side, standing before the magic gate, was a girl. Yuna sighed in exasperation. She'd even pressed the phone hard enough to scratch the screen. Who's the idiot stuck in an F-rank gate? I bet it's nothing serious. C-rank hunter Yuna Shurigain. But the person on the other end only replied politely. Their time was up. Following the association's procedure, Yuna sighed in frustration. Talking to him felt like hitting a wall. Okay, I get it. The call finally ended in despair. The screen promptly displayed information as Yuna requested. She began assessing the situation. The association had sent a rescue request because they exceeded the conquest time limit, but it was an ordinary F-rank gate, a rookie guild at most. After checking the details, Yuna stretched and said, I'm sure they're just partying in there. She then activated teleport level 2 and stepped into the F-rank gate. But as soon as she arrived, her gaze froze. The scene inside was nothing like Yuna had imagined. Wreckage lay everywhere. The goblins were strewn about, none of them alive. They had truly gone berserk right at the entrance. Yuna hurried deeper inside, calling out loudly, Is anyone from the Night Crow Guild here? Where is everyone? But the scene ahead left Yuna frozen. What is this? Trees lay toppled as if a terrible aftershock had just occurred here. Yuna had never considered this possibility. No way could a battle of this scale happen in an F-rank gate. Something was wrong. But the further she went, the more bewildered she became. It was the Chulin, its body covered in wounds, one arm severed yet still standing strong. On the other side, Tenman Tsukishiro was hardly any less battered. Sensing someone else had arrived, it glanced over with relish. Yuna froze, feeling the terrifying energy radiating from it. She grew more alert. What is this aura? Is that really a goblin? I can't believe I'm trembling like this. It let out a few low growls. Then loudly announced, My name is Ku Chulin. Yuna swallowed, breathless, a goblin that can speak human language. It growled the warning at him, I will surely repay this. Then Chulin drew its blade and vanished in a smoke screen. When the smoke cleared completely, its figure was gone. Yuna still couldn't make sense of the situation inside the gate. What on earth was going on? Tenmin Tsukishiro, having given his all, finally collapsed to the ground. She hurried over and asked, "Hey, are you okay?" "I'm from the rescue team sent by the Hunter Association. You're from the Night Crow Guild, right? Where is everyone? You're badly injured." "And what was that goblin earlier? Hang on a bit more." His voice was weak and inaudible, his eyes dimming as they slowly closed. "I am the one who saved your life." Before passing out, Tenmin Tsukishiro reminded her not to forget that. Then he collapsed to the ground as if utterly spent. Finally, Yuna managed to carry Tenmin Tsukishiro back to the gate, but she had a bigger worry. How was she supposed to report this? His half-closed eyes slowly opened. The surroundings of the room came in a clearer view. Then the entire ceiling was revealed before him. Tenmin Tsukishiro had finally regained consciousness. He walked to the window and drew the curtains, then looked outside, wondering silently where this place was. At that moment, a notification board appeared before Tenmin Tsukishiro. He read it with wide eyes, thinking this really happened. "In my previous life, I didn't have a single skill, yet now I've gained all these level 10 skills after one battle. Own skills: swordsmanship level 10, strength level 10, perception level 10, movement level 10, martial arts level 10, agility level 10, 2 other skills." That battle wasn't a dream. Tenmin Tsukishiro continued reading the rest of the info. Status: name, Tenmin Tsukishiro, age, 24, level 2, rank F, trait, incompetent, adjustment E. Adjustment: incompetent. The only reason I could stand toe-to-toe with a named monster like Ku Chulain is because of this trait. The info panel now showed the trait description. Trait description: name, adjustment, incompetent, rank E, effect, experience gained increased by 10,000,000%, special effects locked. Tenmin Tsukishiro read and thought to himself, special effects are still locked. Trait description: name, adjustment, incompetent, rank E, effect, experience gained increased by 10,000,000%, special effects locked. He paid special attention to the 100,000-fold increase in experience. It's a balancing update granted to me because I have absolutely no talent. If Kakeru Amamiya were the one who regressed, would the system grant him the adjustment, incompetent trait as well? No. How could someone who gained overwhelming power the moment they awakened need it? But then Tenmin Tsukishiro exhaled and reminded himself it was better to stop overthinking. I returned to the past. I need to focus on what I can do. At that moment, he was drawn to a voice from behind. "You're finally awake." The person who entered was none other than Yuna. "Did I gain a healing skill while unconscious?" Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at her and thought, hey, are you really going to ignore the person who saved your life? A new line appeared on his info panel. Natural recovery level 10, the ability to self-heal enhanced supernaturally. Tenmin Tsukishiro frowned as he read, "Did I receive a healing skill while unconscious?" "Hey," Yuna called from behind again. "Hey, are you really going to ignore the person who saved your life?" However, Tenmin Tsukishiro simply looked at her and calmly asked, "Who are you?" Yuna was furious. "We met at the gate, didn't we?" "I am Yuna Shurigane, a C-rank hunter from the Hunter Association." Hunter Association, Yuna Shurigane, C-rank hunter. "I rescued you after you collapsed during the battle with the goblins." Seeing the business card she handed him, Tenmin Tsukishiro finally remembered everything. "I remember now. Ku Chulain fled right after this woman appeared." In the original timeline, this Hunter Association investigation team should have been slaughtered brutally. That's why he replied, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm the one who saved your life." Yuna didn't deny it, she quickly agreed. "Well, I admit that to some extent. A survivor from the Night Crow hid and testified to you about how insanely powerful that twin-bladed Ku Chulain was." Hearing that, a smile appeared on Tenmin Tsukishiro's face, so there really was someone else who survived. However, Yuna added, "And that's exactly the problem. The association has decided not to officially recognize you as the one who defeated that goblin. You know what your rank is?" Tenmin Tsukishiro brushed past her as he replied, and that's exactly the problem. Yuna hurried after him, explaining what would happen. The association had decided not to officially recognize you as the one who defeated the goblin. Tenman Tsukishiro glanced back, thinking, the demon's goal is to step out of the gates and conquer the real world. Ku Chulain appearing in an F-rank gate is definitely connected to them. I can't let them discover I intervened in their invasion. Letting demons hiding in the real world learn about me is not a good idea. He slowly revealed a truth. The demon's goal is to step out of the gates and conquer the real world, but Yuna quickly interrupted with different information. Ku Chulain appearing in an F-rank gate is definitely connected to them. I can't let them discover I intervened in their invasion. It's not a good idea to let demons hiding in the real world get information about me. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at her as he answered, for the money. He said as he stepped outside. The demon's goal is to step out of the gates and conquer the real world. The door closed with a decisive click. Left alone, Yuna couldn't help but worry. Ku Chulain appearing in an F-rank gate is definitely connected to them. Outside, Tenman Tsukishiro walked down the street, watching ordinary people selling goods, then glanced at a group of schoolgirls laughing together. A smile was on his face, the world before its destruction, an era full of life. After walking a bit further, Tenman Tsukishiro arrived at his destination. He stood in front of his apartment and entered the passcode. Then Tenman Tsukishiro slowly stepped inside. He looked around the place and remarked, finally home, nothing has changed. Next, Tenman Tsukishiro leaned back into a chair in complete comfort. However, his face was full of thought. Tenman Tsukishiro stretched his hand upward as he pondered, to change humanity's fate of annihilation, what should I do? Normally, the heroes of the association would surely be acting to expose the truth behind the Night Crow incident. Right, if I go there. Wait, am I stupid? The matter has been resolved, so treat it as if it never happened. Then he opened the info panel and looked at it again. Tenman Tsukishiro continued thinking, from the moment this trait was granted name, adjustment, incompetent rank, E effect, experience gained, the past has truly changed. I'm the only one who can do this. A determination arose within him, I will become stronger than anyone. I must stop the incidents that accelerate the world's annihilation. I used to be a faithful reader of Hunter Monthly, so I know most major events, but I don't remember the minor details clearly. Damn it! Unexpectedly, in the next second, Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes widened as he recalled something. He thought of the past, right, when my perception skill activated, the way I see the world changed completely. What if I could also enhance my memory? Tenman Tsukishiro took out a book titled Advanced Quantum Mechanics for Professionals. Tenman Tsukishiro began studying from that book. It's a bit simple, but if I apply my brain and read, maybe I'll gain a memory-related skill. His eyes skimmed across the lines. But before long, Tenman Tsukishiro chose to give up. I don't understand a single word. What the hell am I doing? Forget it. At that moment, the system popped up a notification. High-level cognitive activity detected. In the next second, a stream of upgrade text appeared around Tenman Tsukishiro. Finally concluding with a single line, the intelligence skill has reached maximum level. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at the line and couldn't help but smile. It really worked. He began interacting with the info panel. The text listed magic proficiency increased by 25%, total magical power increased by 10%, mana increased by 10%. Tenman Tsukishiro read and thought to himself, it's not as noticeably transformative as perception. Wait, if I use both intelligence and perception at the same time to recall the past. Spots of light immediately appeared around him. Tenman Tsukishiro was brought into another spatial realm. The info panel displayed instructions, accessing subconscious memory realm, activating perception skill level 10, activating intelligence skill level 10. Tenman Tsukishiro closed his eyes once more and recalled many things. Remember everything I built in that dying world. Everything existed like a tape. And those footage reels quickly surrounded Tenman Tsukishiro. The skill activated along with a flurry of notifications. Memory tracking skill has reached maximum level. You can now perfectly reconstruct memories buried deep in the subconscious. Only now did Tenmin Tsukishiro open his eyes. He was still in the library. A smile sat on Tenmin Tsukishiro's lips. He had achieved his goal. Good, that's what I wanted to remember. Then at a cafe. The time was nearly 3:00 p.m. Tenmin Tsukishiro gave a faint smile, feeling a bit lighter inside. The password to my bank account finally unlocked. Being dirt poor was the only thing that hadn't changed since before I regressed. The cashier announced mechanically, "Your drink is ready." Tenmin Tsukishiro walked while drinking his coffee. He sat alone away from others and thought, I feel like I'm alive again. Everything starts here. Demons are hiding in the city. I'll find and destroy them before they grow stronger. My first target should be the breeding demons, the first one to reveal itself to humanity. While he was lost in thought, his phone suddenly rang. Tenmin Tsukishiro picked it up, puzzled. Hiroki Gondo, who's that? But he chose to answer. Hello, the caller began urgently. Hey temp recruit, we're about to harvest a bunch of magic. Get over here, Seikyo Shikioji City. As soon as the man finished, the system triggered a notification, activating memory tracking level 10. By now, Tenmin Tsukishiro remembered who it was. The team leader from the temporary dispatch company. Back then, as an F-rank hunter, I got by doing fill-in jobs for guilds short on manpower during gate raids. The urgent voice from the other end sounded again, stop standing around and get moving. Tenmin Tsukishiro replied unhurriedly. I can't go. The refusal surprised the caller. What? And the reason he gave sounded ridiculous. I don't have enough money for a taxi. After he said that, there was only silence on the line. Tenmin Tsukishiro then hailed a taxi. Sitting in the car, he muttered in confusion. He hung up so abruptly. He'll just call a car for me anyway. He then checked his info panel and nodded in satisfaction. Good. The car sped along the road and then stopped. When they arrived, Tenmin Tsukishiro stepped out of the vehicle casually. His destination was the crowd gathered up ahead. A conjecture formed instantly. It seemed I'd have plenty of opportunities to test everything here. Kuki greeted Tenmin Tsukishiro with a scold. You're late. Move it. If we miss the gate raid window, can you take responsibility? Kusei guild leader, D-rank hunter Kuki Kazawa. But his gaze was icy cold. This made Kuki uncomfortable. What, you want to fight right now? The system flooded him with notifications. You have acquired the Intimidate skill by threatening an opponent. Along with that came the skill's explanation. Intimidate, threaten the target, reducing 9% of all the target's stats, only effective against targets of equal or lower rank than the user. Tenmin Tsukishiro read it and smiled with satisfaction. Truly an unexpected reward. He approached Kuki and asked, can you lend me some usable gear? He turned to his teammate and requested, just hand him something. The man quickly agreed, yes, boss. Kuki gestured toward the gate and signaled, follow me. The others chatted loudly. Boss looks worried, right? Once inside, they began slaughtering the monsters. The path quickly cleared up. At that moment, the white-haired guy ordered, hey, clean this area up, hurry. Another person moved immediately. Yes, sir. Elsewhere, someone was stabbing a goblin with a knife. The man in the green shirt was struggling badly. Tenmin Tsukishiro suddenly appeared from behind and asked, is there a spare dagger? The other party quickly handed him what he needed. Here. Tenmin Tsukishiro took over the task, performing it with ease. This left the others utterly astonished. Notifications appeared again. Acquired skill Gore. Tenmin Tsukishiro finally obtained the magic crystals and the system briefly announced, acquired Gore skill level 10. The man in green was completely stunned. While Tenmin Tsukishiro smiled and signaled, let's go. They defeated countless monsters. When they stopped to rest, some members began chatting. Today went surprisingly smoothly, right? Maybe everyone's just in good form. The white-haired man signaled again, keep moving. What? You should focus on looting, not moving on. But on closer inspection, Tenmin Tsukishiro and the logistics guy had tidied the pile of monster corpses meticulously. A few notifications popped up. Demon wolf hide preserved perfectly. Looking further, they spotted other items, high-quality wolf fangs. The group was momentarily surprised. Keep moving. Tenman Tsukishiro walked with the logistics guy and chatted. I think today's smooth gate clear was because before I used to take too long. He smiled and asked, how can I be as fast and precise as you, Tenman Tsukishiro? Suddenly a goblin appeared before them, even wielding a weapon. Tenman Tsukishiro observed it and quickly realized. So one of them had escaped. Meanwhile, the man beside him admired the tattoo on its shoulder. He must be the captain. Tenman Tsukishiro drew his weapon. A smile was on his face. This was exactly the kind of event he had been waiting for. The man next to him quickly warned, careful. Tsukishiro, you're a useless F-rank hunter who can't even kill a goblin. You're not the fill-in guy, you're the black hole. The goblin wore an expression of utter contempt toward them. It turned its head and waved a hand. And immediately many others appeared. In the end, they were facing 5 high-ranked goblins. The logistics guy had already given up resisting. An F-rank hunter against 5 goblins is doomed. The goblins immediately launched an attack. Tenman Tsukishiro responded with his Intimidate skill. Dark auras instantly radiated from his body. The goblins widened their eyes in fear. One fell to the ground. A system notification appeared, acquired Intimidate skill level 4. With each one that fell, Tenman Tsukishiro's skill leveled up. 2 more collapsed and he reached skill level 7. In the end, only 1 remained. By now it began to panic. Opposite him, Tenman Tsukishiro beamed eagerly. This Intimidate skill was amazing. He glanced back suddenly. And seeing the logistics guy practically lifeless, Tenman Tsukishiro teased, you're still here. Well, I don't have to worry about anyone seeing this anymore. No sooner said than done, he lunged forward to attack. Even as he moved, notification panels continued to pop up around Tenman Tsukishiro. He struck relentlessly, driving the goblin back. After a while, Tenman Tsukishiro said, all right, time for a small experiment. Meanwhile, his opponent struggled to block the blows. The fight lasted a few more minutes. When there was a break to catch his breath, the goblin's body was covered in wounds. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at his weapon and continued assessing. I thought fighting them might grant me another new skill like last time, but it seems anything beyond basic skills still requires real effort. Talentless adjustment makes learning basic skills easier, but it doesn't change the fact that I have no talent. Realizing that left him slightly displeased. Tenman Tsukishiro decisively swung, ending the goblin's life. Its body collapsed to the ground immediately. At that moment, a notification appeared. The trait's effect has been activated. Experience gained multiplied by 100,000, and another notification followed. Reach level 20. Tenman Tsukishiro began thinking. Come to think of it, I never defeated Ku Chulain, so I shouldn't have gained any experience. But I didn't expect to suddenly jump straight to level 20 and then have my level locked. Here's a brief explanation. Once your level is locked, you cannot level up further until you complete your awakening quest. During that time, you receive accumulation points instead of experience points. Each hunter's awakening quest is different and they appear every 20 levels until you are promoted to the next rank. Both your level and experience will be capped. In short, until you complete the awakening quest, you will receive accumulation points instead of experience. His finger touched the stats panel. The accumulation points you receive in place of experience can be used to purchase items from the system shop. But then Tenman Tsukishiro was forced to withdraw his hand. He continued pondering other matters. When will my awakening quest appear? I guess I just have to wait. What should I decide to buy later? Get up, it's time to dissect monsters. At this point, the logistics guy finally sat up. He was greeted by the sight of monsters lying strewn across the ground. He couldn't believe his eyes, the goblin captain and all the other goblins. Then he immediately asked Tenman Tsukishiro, what happened here? He lied in reply, someone else took them down, start dissecting. The 2 of them diligently dissected the monster corpses. Throughout the process, Tenman Tsukishiro kept watching the other man. Once he was sure the man wasn't looking, he opened his status panel. The information displayed in detail. Status: Name: Tenman Tsukishiro. Age: 24. Level: 20. Lock: Rank: F. Trait: Talentless Adjustment. E. Skills: Swordsmanship LV10, Strength LV10, Perception LV10, Formations LV10, Martial Arts LV10, Agility LV10, Natural Recovery LV10, Endurance LV10, Memory Retrieval LV10, Intelligence LV10, Gore LV10, Intimidate LV10. But Tenman Tsukishiro's attention focused on one line: Level 20 locked. Reading that, he thought to himself, my awakening quest still hasn't appeared. If I want to keep training while hunting, I can't just sit here waiting. Another system message appeared. You have reached the maximum level for F rank, level 20. The difficulty of the awakening quest will increase. The rewards will. Tenman Tsukishiro grew more puzzled. The difficulty is increasing. What does that mean? Then his eyes widened. This is accompanied by a note: bad. Meanwhile, the logistics guy behind him was also watching. He looked at Tenman Tsukishiro's expression. Amazing. The awakening quest difficulty increased, and he nervously muttered, a necrophile. The notification read: Awakening quest difficulty increased. Trait evolution reward: Talentless Adjustment breaks limits. 1. Difficulty and success rates for learning skills increase significantly. 2. Experience gain times 100,000. 3. Remove the maximum skill level cap of 10. All stats increase by 2 times. 4. Special items will be provided when the awakening quest begins. 5. The system shop evolves into the retribution shop. And reading this, Tenman Tsukishiro felt puzzled. Trait evolution, breaking limits. This isn't a normal awakening quest. Break the limit quest completion rewards: max level of all skills plus 1, stats per level times 1, 2. 2. Unlock the retribution shop. Max skill levels increase by 1, stats times 1, 2, and shop evolution. If I rank up to D, my power will spike. If things go according to the previous timeline, the goal is to kill a devil. Within 3 days, I must slay the devil that appears from a specific gate. The horrific memories of his past life returned. The one who would become a Legion commander and trample humanity, the Growth Devil. A Legion commander, an entity leading demon legions. Next, Tenman Tsukishiro's attention stopped at the adjacent stat box. What is this small blue window? The logistics guy asked curiously. Tenman Tsukishiro, aren't you heading back? Tenman Tsukishiro replied tersely, I'm leaving now. But he kept reading the notification in front of him. Due to talentless adjustment, items will be provided for the awakening quest. You have received a special rare weapon box. Tenman Tsukishiro murmured to himself, a rare weapon. His hand quickly selected the mysterious box. A light appeared instantly. In Tenman Tsukishiro's hand was a weapon. A notification accompanied it. You have received the special sword Soul Hunter, rare. After a while, their group also made it back outside. The logistics guy waved goodbye. Boss, I'll head off early today, Kuki replied politely. Thanks for your hard work today. He smiled with satisfaction. Tenman Tsukishiro thought to himself, Boss, I'll head off early today. He looked at the balance change displayed on his phone. Thanks for your hard work today. Then raised his question to Kuki. Shouldn't I have received my day's pay from the branch? Wasn't that amount supposed to be 35,000 yen? He smiled and explained, I've already sent the branch's cut separately. Consider the rest a bonus for your hard work. The man beside him quickly added, thanks to you everything went smoothly today. It's just a small token of my appreciation. After that they left. See you later. Alone, Tenman Tsukishiro silently assessed everything. I thought this world was just a chaotic pile of garbage, but as soon as my stats rose, people really started recognizing me. Rubbing his stomach with one hand, he muttered, I completely forgot how hungry I was. I just got paid, should I go find something to eat? His phone screen showed bank notifications. Yen 500 has been transferred to your account. From Hiroki Gondo, I deducted the taxi fare. Only 4,500, that bastard. Night quickly fell over the city. Tenman Tsukishiro was holding a head of broccoli in his hand. His face showed utter contentment. The aroma of fresh ingredients before the apocalypse, vegetables were something I never even dared dream of seeing. But when Tenman Tsukishiro glanced aside, he saw a girl. Yuna was a little surprised too. Tenman Tsukishiro thought, sure, again from the Hunters Guild. Did the guild send her to tail me? Yuna angrily explained, I'm just buying groceries. What are you sneaking around doing with that broccoli? His answer was simple, he was just enjoying the scent of fresh broccoli. Hearing that, her face went blank. Right, someone really should keep an eye on this guy. Tenman Tsukishiro watched her and evaluated silently. Thinking back, she looks familiar. He activated his skill, memory retrieval level 10. Very quickly, he had a rough idea. Tenman Tsukishiro spoke immediately. Do you have an older sister, named Shurigen Yuki? Yuna was taken aback. How do you know about my sister? To summarize her, Tenman Tsukishiro could put it in a few short lines. How could I not know? One of the 11 survivors, the infinite archer, Shurigen. She was once humanity's hope, nicknamed the Goblin Slayer. I heard that in my previous life she lost her sister to goblins. I didn't expect that person to be Shurigen Yuna. Because in this life I saved her during the Night Crow Guild incident, it seems she didn't become the Goblin Slayer. Meanwhile, Yuna pressed on. Hey, how do you know about my sister? Tenman Tsukishiro explained succinctly. Because she's very beautiful. She looked puzzled. So what? He then added, you two look very similar. Yuna was embarrassed by the comment. Why are you suddenly complimenting me? Tenman Tsukishiro smiled and thought to himself, I heard she can use spatial teleportation. I might need that ability for the fight against the Growth Devil. Then he made a request, give me your phone number. Yuna was completely surprised. My phone number? For what? Tenman Tsukishiro kept up the pressure. You don't want to give it? She was so embarrassed her face turned red. It's not that I don't want to, but there should be an order to these things. However, Tenman Tsukishiro's real motive was very simple. I need you to repay the life debt from when I saved you last time. What was I thinking? Yuna lost interest and even grew angry. How sentimental. She snatched the phone from his hand, then slammed her number in roughly, prompting Tenman Tsukishiro to admonish her. Hey. When she was done, Yuna tossed the phone back to Tenman Tsukishiro and walked off with her anger still burning. How dare he make a mockery of me like that? The next day, Tenman Tsukishiro headed out very early, probably just nearby. The rare weapon I received yesterday has 30 attack points, 3 times stronger than my old iron sword. He read the item info shown below and then commented, super rare, 1 rank above rare. But a single good weapon won't be enough to fight the Growth Devil that's about to appear. I need to learn more powerful sword techniques. If you want to learn cooking, you seek a chef, so if you want to learn swordsmanship, what then? Tenman Tsukishiro looked toward his destination and resolved to find a swordsman. Arriving at the door, he called out, excuse me, is anyone here? Tenman Tsukishiro slowly stepped through the unlocked door. To defeat that devil, I need a signature skill that can deal enormous damage. The swordsman who lived here was rumored to have sliced a mountain in 2 and cleaved the sky with a single strike. He had once been a beacon of hope for humanity, a hunter who embodied countless miracles. That person was none other than Sword Saint Kirishima Teiyo. Teiyo scratched his head and lazily said, give me a break, coming here this early. Then he slowly walked toward Tenman Tsukishiro. Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes widened, feeling extremely nervous. He's here. The light had been turned on. Tenman Tsukishiro was a little surprised to see many sheets of paper at his feet. Teiyo let out a long yawn. He spoke at an unhurried pace. You're a fan, right? A simple question was asked, where do you want me to sign? In others' tales, Teiyo was constantly swinging his sword. People even said his blade had split the sky and cleaved mountains in 2. This man was the Sword Saint Teiyo Kirishima. If nothing else, his power was said to be flawless. But the man in my memory, the present Teiyo, smiled and said, you want my autograph? He proclaimed excitedly, of course, because I'm the one who will save the world. At the time, Tenman Tsukishiro was drinking beer and thought to himself, so this is the Sword Saint, he's worse than the rumors. Not long after, rumors spread that the Sword Saint had died. The cause remained unclear, but the demons would never leave humanity's hope alone. Back in the present, Teiyo was still alive. You want me to sign on your back? Tenman Tsukishiro observed him and thought silently, he was just like this in his youth, but right now no one should recognize me. I would be honored to receive your instruction. The request surprised him. What? Teiyo put a hand on Tenman Tsukishiro's shoulder and peppered him with questions. You want to be my disciple? You should have said that from the start. The commotion made Tenmin Tsukishiro uncomfortable. Maybe I should just leave. After that, he sat alone in the chair. Teo returned with a cup of tea. All month I've been able to think of nothing but signing autographs. I don't know when I turned into this. By the way, how did you find me here? I only just registered as a hunter. I haven't done any missions yet. He suddenly grew serious as he continued speaking. The man's demeanor also made Tenmin Tsukishiro very tense. But Teo broke into a smile and excitedly declared, I bet you saw my technique at the aptitude test and were mesmerized at first sight, weren't you? After saying that, Teo burst out laughing. Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at him and replied, yes, that's right. I'm a hunter too, so I hoped you might teach me one of your techniques, Lord Kirishima. Hearing that, Teo understood, so he was a fan. Then I'll grant you a great favor. What skill do you want to learn? Meanwhile, Tenmin Tsukishiro recalled their first meeting. That day, when we first ran into each other at a tavern, the sword saint was plastered drunk and said this to me. At the time, Teo earnestly shared, it's simple, anyone can learn it, and it's the foundational technique for everything. Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at him and asked, what technique is that? Teo pointed at Tenmin Tsukishiro and continued, you really don't know, it's you know. The answer given was direct/online. Teo couldn't believe his ears. He wants to learn that. Tenmin Tsukishiro only asked once more, will you teach me? He rose from his seat and stepped toward the swords. Teo handed one to Tenmin Tsukishiro with a request, hold it and try. He hesitated and slowly reached out his hand. But before Tenmin Tsukishiro could touch the sword, Teo withdrew it. Hopeless, you have absolutely no talent at all. He was baffled. I haven't even held the sword yet. Teo kept dismissing him as he explained, at my level you can tell with a glance, give up the way of the sword. His next argument was, how would you know if you haven't tried? At that, Teo could only sigh. He decided to hand the sword to Tenmin Tsukishiro. Here, take it. However, Teo himself was then taken aback. A notification appeared beside Tenmin Tsukishiro. The effect of swordsmanship skill level 10 had been activated. Teo muttered in disbelief, impossible. Tenmin Tsukishiro continued, do you still think I'm unqualified? Teo watched him and wondered, the way he held the sword, his breathing, even his ordinary gait, no matter how you looked, he showed no sign of talent. Yet the moment he gripped the sword, his entire posture changed. Thinking that, he finally suggested, come with me. They moved to an area with 3 trees. Teo took up the sword and began to demonstrate. First, I'll show you by example. It's still just an unfinished level 9 skill, but consider this a special service for a fan. After saying that, Teo took a deep breath. His hand holding the sword raised high, and he brought it down with absolute decisiveness. The log was instantly split in 2. Teo handed the sword to Tenmin Tsukishiro and said, now you try. He too inhaled slowly, raised his sword hand high, then chopped down with a powerful stroke. Teo immediately shook his head. Told you, he has absolutely no talent. Think about it, having a sword skill but unable to perform a direct slash. Tenmin Tsukishiro kept swinging the sword. The more he watched, the more dejected he became. At this rate, it'll take him 10 years to learn it, and it's not even that sophisticated a technique. After a while, Tenmin Tsukishiro wondered, is there really no other explanation? Teo frowned, thinking inwardly, if he weren't my fan, I'd have kicked him out long ago. When you raise the sword, make it connect with the sky. When you bring the sword down, imagine connecting heaven and earth. Focus on making the blade's path perfectly straight. Tenmin Tsukishiro listened to everything and replied simply, I understand. Then he continued swinging the sword. Teo watched and assessed with despair. Hopeless, I think we should stop for today. Unexpectedly, the next slash he unleashed was better than before. Teo was drawn in as well. This shouldn't be possible, that sound. Tenmin Tsukishiro cut a stroke that produced a blinding blue light. Teo couldn't believe his eyes. What am I seeing here? Is his sword trajectory becoming sharper? He gaped, utterly astonished. This is unbelievable. Cracks appeared in the log, and then it split in 2. Tenmin Tsukishiro stopped at that point. He turned to Teo and asked, is that the feeling, sir? Teo replied, a little surprised. You've surprised me. I take back what I said earlier about you having no talent. But as for a true direct slash, you must cut through 4 logs in succession, not just one. Tenman Tsukishiro stepped forward declaring, I'll give it a try. Meanwhile Teo kept babbling, no matter how talented you are with the sword, this is impossible. Go ahead and try. He paused immediately afterward, because Tenman Tsukishiro was now standing before all 4 logs. He slowly raised the sword in his hand. Teo's eyes widened, completely unable to believe what was happening. Impossible. The slash was executed with absolute decisiveness. All 4 logs simultaneously snapped in 2. Along with that came a notification, acquired direct slash skill level 1. Due to the effect of the talentless adjustment exceeding its limit, experience points gained were multiplied by 100,000, acquired direct slash skill level 10. Teo was so frightened by the force of that strike that he fell to the ground. He couldn't believe his eyes. How could something like this exist? Tenman Tsukishiro simply curved his lips into a smile. It was already late afternoon. Elsewhere a door was opening. Yuna stepped out carrying 2 bags, one in each arm. She set her things down and called out, I'm back, sis. Shurigane quickly replied, I told you not to teleport around recklessly. What if you couldn't use it when you actually needed to? The Silver Wing Guild's SSS rank hunter, Yuki Shurigane. Yuna, unfazed and playful, answered, I know. Shurigane looked at her and asked, more importantly, what's wrong with you? Your face is all flushed. Caught off guard, Yuna bashfully dodged. What are you talking about? Shurigane continued, you look completely different than usual. Did something happen outside? Yuna set her glasses on the table and replied, it's nothing special. More importantly, sis, do you know Tenman Tsukishiro? Shurigane heard that and quickly answered, no, I've never heard that name before. Yuna immediately turned away, unwilling to say more. Really? I see. Shurigane watched her with curiosity. Did you eat something weird? Once back in her room, Yuna immediately took out her phone and began fantasizing about herself, so he deliberately mentioned his sister just to get my number. Tenman Tsukishiro, he's a bit odd but not actually bad looking. Shurigane appeared out of nowhere and suddenly asked, did you meet someone? She teased when she saw Yuna hiding under the blanket. You're too easy to read. A question was raised, so who is he? Yuna embarrassedly explained, he's the one who helped me the other day. Shurigane pressed on and then Yuna sat up and explained, it's really nothing big, he just asked for my phone number. Shurigane stroked her head affectionately while advising, I understand. If things go well, introduce him to me. Yuna obediently replied, yes, ma'am. Then Shurigane added, starting tomorrow the guild will clear out a large-scale gate, so I'll be away for a few days. Gates have been acting strangely lately. So don't get involved in any dangerous guild matters. Yuna replied softly, I know, you worry too much about me. Shurigane then headed out of the room. Yuna was left alone again, staring at her phone. Only one name was on her mind, Tenman Tsukishiro. He himself stood before the logs that had just been split in 2. A series of notifications appeared. Learned the active skill Single Strike Rare, received a level 10 skill, reached maximum level. Tenman Tsukishiro finally exhaled in deep satisfaction. I did it. It's a bit tricky to grasp the secret, but once you understand the trick, the experience gained multiplies by 100,000. So that's how it is. He turned his head and continued, thank you so much. Because of you, however, Teo muttered once more. Tenman Tsukishiro stepped closer to the other with a puzzled look. What's wrong? Teo continued to plead, please. Just one more time, let me see it. I still don't understand how you did that. Even I never reached level 10. How could you manage it after only a few attempts? This information was beyond Tenman Tsukishiro's expectations. No way have I really surpassed Kirishima's single strike. A skill info panel appeared. Name, Kirishima Ryu, Single Strike Rarity, Rare Level 10. Description, a sword technique created by swordsman Teo Kirishima. Level 10 additional effect, can even cut through invisible objects. Reading this, Tenman Tsukishiro reflected. There's still one day before the demon growth appears. While there's time, I should learn as many sword skills as possible. Teo kept pleading, please. Tenman Tsukishiro didn't hesitate and agreed at once. I'll show you. He couldn't believe his ears. Really? Tenman Tsukishiro then put forward a condition. But in return, could you show me some of your other skills? My name is Tenman Tsukishiro. Teo was moved to tears. He rushed forward and hugged Tenman Tsukishiro tightly. Master. From today you will be my master. I will teach you all my skills. This enthusiasm made him somewhat short of breath. Okay, let me go. The forest then witnessed large-scale techniques being unleashed. Teo was now executing a skill, Kirishima Ryu Technique No 121 Burst Aura Slash. He launched an enormous fireball that slammed into the ground, leaving an explosion. Teo then looked at Tenman Tsukishiro and asked, have you grasped the secret yet, master? But Tenman Tsukishiro's face was soon covered in sweat. Damn, I can't even keep up with him. Judging by the Sword Saint's character, single strike truly is an exception. Don't talk about copying it, I don't even understand the theory behind this skill. Even with the talentless adjustment, it doesn't change the fact that I have no talent at all. His body was covered by the effects of the innate skill. Tenman Tsukishiro slowly suggested, that's enough for today. Teo, a little disappointed, asked, you're leaving already? Tenman Tsukishiro explained briefly, I have other matters to attend to. I'm looking forward to seeing your completed single strike. He answered earnestly, yes, I still have a long way to go. Also, although I obtained a hunter license, I never intended to become a real hunter. But after meeting you, master, I've changed my mind. I will become a proper hunter. Seeing Teo's determination, Tenman Tsukishiro could only encourage him. Do your best. At the white building, items were laid out on the table. Werewolf hides were perfectly preserved, wolf fangs of high quality. It's rare to find materials of this caliber. The shop owner inspected their condition and remarked, have you learned the skinning skill? Tenman Tsukishiro replied succinctly, it's my livelihood. At this, he added, high-quality materials grant additional effects when crafting equipment. If you find more, bring them to me, and I'll give you a good price. A system notification appeared, low-quality leather armor set, leg guards, pauldrons, gloves, chest piece, common grade, F- quality, defense +6. Tenman Tsukishiro thought to himself, a good price, ridiculous. Even as starter gear, having it or not makes a world of difference. Alright, one last thing to do. Someone's phone rang, and the other party answered almost immediately. Yuna hurriedly answered it. Hello, Tenman Tsukishiro spoke from the other end. Ms. Shurigane, right? I have something to discuss with you. Do you have a moment? She instantly became alert. You want to talk to me? Is it something important? I'm a little busy right now. Should I make him wait a bit? Tenman Tsukishiro revealed that his purpose was the abnormal gate. Yuna couldn't help feeling disappointed. And the mask fell to the ground as well. She reacted angrily. What did you say? An info panel displayed before Tenman Tsukishiro. F-rank limit break mission, objective, defeat 1 demon, completion rewards, raise maximum level of all skills to 20, increase growth stats per level by 1, 2 times, unlock the karma reversal shop. He stood looking out while thinking to himself, I'm ready for. Tenman Tsukishiro's face showed no emotion. The purge. The participants quickly gathered. Sorry I'm late, did you wait long? No, not too long. Yuna asked as they walked, are you sure that information is reliable? Tenman Tsukishiro replied softly, you'll see when we get there. Yuna exhaled upon hearing that. An abnormal gate, today we're heading to a D-rank gate, the Roma Guild requested the purge, so we'll go with them. Then Yuna slowly added, and one more thing. Tenman Tsukishiro looked over with curiosity. But she suddenly grew angry and quickened her pace. Come on, let's go. This action left Tenman Tsukishiro very puzzled. Wait a moment. 2 waiting members looked at them. Just in time, the gate opened. Mayumisaki, Roma Guild D-rank hunter. Taiga Sejima, Roma Guild D-rank hunter. Yuna stepped forward and introduced herself. I'm Yuna Shurigane from the Hunters Association. The other quickly replied, nice to meet you, I'm Mayumisaki. They were curious about Tenman Tsukishiro's identity, and Yuna smiled and explained, he'll provide support if anything unusual happens inside the gate. Taiga Sejima folded his arms and reminded them, I'm Taiga Sejima, guild leader. I don't know the details, but make it quick and leave as soon as it's done. I don't know the details, but make it quick and leave as soon as it's done. I am Taiga Sejima, guild leader. Yuna couldn't help feeling annoyed. Yes, I understand. Tenman Tsukishiro observed the man and thought, he doesn't even bother to acknowledge my presence. According to the original plot, everyone here should have been slaughtered by demons. Taiga Sejima glared and demanded, what's the matter? Do you have something to say? Pressed by him, Tenman Tsukishiro hastily denied it. It's nothing. He turned and ordered, then be quiet and follow us. At that moment, Yuna whispered into his ear, this is exactly why I can't stand those guilds. They treat the association like the enemy. They slowly stepped inside. Unexpectedly, Yuna suddenly added, wait a moment, before we go in, I'll measure the gate's energy. She activated her ability. A purple light spread out before them. Yuna frowned slightly and muttered, all right. After checking, she announced, it seems there are no abnormal signs. Are you sure about this? Tenman Tsukishiro replied calmly, but if nothing happens, you'll be held responsible. Yuna was briefly surprised to hear that. She responded with a smile, I'm 100% certain, fine, I'll trust you. Inside the gate, Yuna and Tenman Tsukishiro walked together. She looked at the space before them and remarked, so beautiful. Tenman Tsukishiro tightened his grip on his weapon and thought, somewhere in this forest the boss is probably hiding. His face showed intense concentration. There was a growth demon here. Their group continued to move forward. At this point, Taiga Sejima turned back and signaled, hey, don't go too far. It'll be troublesome if something happens to you. Yuna smiled outwardly but cursed inwardly. He's got late-stage hunter syndrome. How dare a lowly D-rank order a C-rank around? Meanwhile, Taiga Sejima and his group chuckled among themselves as they walked. Tenman Tsukishiro watched them and thought, he doesn't realize that the time when you're still growing is the happiest time of your life. Hunters who rank up from F to D often delude themselves they'll become the strongest someday. From F to D, from D to C. They think they'll reach those peaks, but those who truly make S-rank are genuine anomalies. At that moment, an announcement cut through his thoughts, monster beasts ahead. Immediately after, a pack of white wolves appeared. Taiga Sejima and his team immediately went on the offensive, 3 silver wolves. He signaled to them, everyone prepare to fight. Taiga Sejima called to the girl in the group, shield. A layer of white leaves was immediately raised. Another member attacked, magic arrows ready. Meanwhile, Taiga Sejima took on the melee role. The command was given again, fire. The silver wolves were almost entirely blown away. They lay scattered on the ground. Taiga Sejima led this group forward to press the attack. They took turns bringing down the wolf. Tenman Tsukishiro watched and judged silently. Not bad. If this were a normal gate, they could have cleared it without trouble. However, he also realized the single problem was, there was a growth demon here. Taiga Sejima managed to strike that silver wolf. But then his face went dark and he swore under his breath, damn it. Everyone fall back behind the shield now. They still stood firm even when struck directly on their weak spots. Taiga Sejima charged in to attack once more. His teammates also supported from above, block this. This time the wolves were no longer being pushed back. This was beyond their expectations. What, my magic isn't working. Some of them had even started attacking the shield. After a while they succeeded. Taiga Sejima immediately fell back. His teammates all dodged. A girl stumbled and screamed. Taiga Sejima then shouted a command, get a grip, don't retreat, keep fighting. Tenman Tsukishiro observed the situation and noted, the demon aura spreading through the entire gate causes any monster that absorbs it to evolve, becoming far stronger than before. That's one of the reasons demons become such terrifying creatures. At that moment, Yuna looked at him and said, they're far stronger than ordinary D-rank monsters, aren't we going to help them? Tenman Tsukishiro answered frankly, I don't know. I'm not sure we have the capacity to help anyone else right now. At the same time, he activated a skill. Awareness skill level 10 was triggered. Beams of light suddenly appeared, along with the silhouettes of wolves. They charged forward ferociously. One leapt forward intending to snatch its prey. Tenman Tsukishiro slowly drew his sword. A notification appeared as he delivered the first slash. Leveling is locked. You will receive points instead of experience levels. Tenman Tsukishiro thought with satisfaction, its attack is sharper than I expected, just as you'd expect from a rare item like the Soul Hunter. The other wolves attacked together, and Tenman Tsukishiro could only parry repeatedly. But before he could act, several chains appeared from behind. They were used to clamp the mouths of the wolves shut, and then force them to the ground. Yuna supported with all her strength. Finish it quickly. Tenman Tsukishiro didn't waste the opportunity she created. Roger. Besides space teleportation, she even has binding skills. Yuki Shurigane's sister and SSS rank hunter is truly formidable. He rapidly unleashed slashes. His strikes targeted the wolves. Their bodies were cut into many pieces. Watching this, Yuna thought silently, impressive. The battle produced a thick smoke, and several notifications appeared. The Soul Hunter is absorbing souls. Tenman Tsukishiro sheathed his weapon after finishing his work. Current soul concentration, 13%. Yuna turned away and remarked, they're still struggling over there. The ones she referred to were Taiga Sejima and his group. Taiga Sejima loudly demanded at this point, hey, come over here and help us. Tenman Tsukishiro retorted with contempt, didn't I tell you not to touch my prey? Taiga Sejima, hearing that, flew into a rage. How dare you say that right now? He was immediately knocked away by a wolf. The situation was gradually turning against their group. Should we help them? In the end, Tenman Tsukishiro and Yuna assisted the group. Rest a moment before moving to the next area. Next time, if we hold our position. A member spoke with a bewildered expression. You don't actually intend to keep going like this, do you? The girl in the group added, we can't go any further. Hearing that, Taiga Sejima felt extremely annoyed. What's wrong with you? This is just a D-rank gate. If we fail this request, we won't be able to buy new gear or pay off our debts. Tenman Tsukishiro watched him and thought, this is often how a hunter's daily life goes. Repeating hunts like a game dulls their senses, until they forget the simple truth that gates and monsters are dangerous beings from another world. Even Yuna had to intervene. Going further in will be too dangerous. We're in an abnormal gate. The monsters have all been significantly strengthened. For now, go back and request reinforcement from the guild. Instead, she was met with a counter-question. Do you have any proof this is an abnormal gate? Just because you're with the guild doesn't mean you have the right to decide everything. We're the ones responsible here, so don't overstep your bounds. Yuna had no words to add. He continued to act arrogantly, if you understand then. However, a member of Taiga Sejima's team widened her eyes, her expression showing sheer terror. She looked elsewhere and said, Sejima. Her voice trembled more and more. Over there. Two eyes emerged from the darkness, followed by a gigantic paw. This wolf was dozens of times larger than the previous ones. It let out a threatening roar. The sound alone was enough to blow the group away. What? Taiga Sejima turned pale with fear. He looked at the silver wolf and murmured, what is that? Tenman Tsukishiro quickly recognized the wolf. He observed the opponent and concluded, it was the boss of this gate. A system notification appeared. The silver wolf boss is roaring. You have fallen into a state of panic due to the silver wolf boss's roar. Panic reduces judgment and movement. Accompanied by a headache, Taiga Sejima's team members cried out in fear, help me, my head feels like it's going to explode. Tenman Tsukishiro shouted over here, Shurigane, use escape magic now. Yuna replied to him, wait a moment. Everyone gather here quickly, I can't hold on much longer. Immediately after, another notification appeared. You have acquired Spirit Skill Level 1, you have acquired Spirit Skill Level 2, you have acquired Spirit Skill Level 3. Resistance to abnormal mental states increased by 9. Tenman Tsukishiro quickly regained composure. His spirit had risen slightly. Taiga Sejima then signaled, we have to run now. But before he could flee, a hand grabbed his leg. The frail white-haired girl pleaded, "Sejima, help." However, she was decisively abandoned by Taiga Sejima. He ran away half dead. Tenmin Tsukishiro watched the opponent's movements and thought, if I run now, I won't get help from escape magic anymore. I have to stop them. Then he activated the effect of the Intimidate skill level 7. A system notification appeared immediately. Targets around you have fallen into an intimidated state. Taiga Sejima fell to the ground and smashed his face. At that moment, Yuna signaled to them, "Gather here quickly, we'll escape using spatial teleportation." The white wolf was nearly upon the group. From behind, Tenmin Tsukishiro grabbed a white-haired girl and ran to Yuna Shurigain. The wolf snarled as the formation was activated, and at last his foot touched the teleportation circle. They escaped by the skin of their teeth. The group was taken to a place far from the silver wolf. Only now did they feel somewhat relieved. "We're saved." A member quickly suggested, "We can't just sit here, we need to get out of the gate quickly." Meanwhile, Yuna looked around worriedly. "Something's wrong, we should have teleported to the gate exit by now." But the explanation was simple, the exit is closed. Tenmin Tsukishiro continued to explain, "This is an abnormal gate, the exit won't appear unless we defeat the boss." However, Taiga Sejima shouted back, "Wait, how can we possibly defeat a monster like that?" Suddenly Tenmin Tsukishiro raised his sword. He clutched his head in fear, until he saw Tenmin Tsukishiro slash a monster instead of Taiga Sejima. He sheathed his sword and slowly explained, "Don't worry, I'll take it down." But no sooner had he spoken than strange noises echoed. A member pointed elsewhere and cried, "What's that?" They observed the body of the silver wolf. Black things were covering it, and they made the silver wolf emit horrific sounds. Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at what was happening and thought, has it possessed the silver wolf boss's body? That was it, the target I needed to destroy. Facing him now was a growth demon. Yuna also saw the horrific sight and exclaimed, "No way you're going to fight that thing." Tenmin Tsukishiro turned to the other members and signaled, "Shurigain and I will take it down." A few people found it hard to believe, "Just the two of you, that's suicide." Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at Taiga Sejima and continued, "Sejima, a request was made. Can you lend me that armor? The practical full-body metal armor, rare grade plus quality, adds 25 defense and reduces damage from beast-type enemies by 5%. As they went together, Yuna wondered, "So what exactly is that thing?" "Just as I thought, after devouring the boss, it transformed into the exact same form. Do you have a plan?" Tenmin Tsukishiro pondered and explained, "I intend to force it into submission by force." Hearing that, her face turned utterly ugly. "Well, what a brilliant plan, how, that's the perfect way for both of us to die together." Tenmin Tsukishiro turned and added, "One thing's certain, the boss's sudden power-up is related to the gate being closed. Either way, what we have to do doesn't change." Figures of silver wolves emerged from the bushes. He swung his sword decisively, "I'll crush every one of them." They were defeated almost instantly. A few on the opposite side were attacking. She didn't stand idle either, she countered with a bolt of lightning. The wolves were all struck at once, and they died from that single move. Tenmin Tsukishiro commented at that, "Not bad." Yuna looked at him and winked mischievously. "Believe it or not, I'm about to be promoted to a B-rank hunter, got it?" Tenmin Tsukishiro observed the fallen silver wolves and assessed, "It's a shame I won't get any experience, but thanks to her, it looks like we can wipe them all out at once." His sword continued to absorb. Soul Hunter devoured one soul, now at 99%, current soul concentration 100%. Then another notification appeared, Soul unlocked. Special function, Soul Release unlocked. Soul Hunter, Soul Release, usable when the required amount of monster souls has been collected. Coats the sword with countless souls, greatly increasing attack power and area of effect for 5 seconds. Reading that, Tenmin Tsukishiro couldn't suppress a smile. Awesome, 5 seconds. Yuna pointed ahead and signaled, "It's starting to emit a really dangerous aura." They were looking at that gigantic silver wolf. The wolf pups answered its howl and gathered. Yuna now observed the silver wolves around it are acting very strangely. Tenmin Tsukishiro kindly explained, They're wary because the boss's howl sounds different from usual. Before the growth demon fully absorbs the silver wolf boss's power, now is our chance. Unexpectedly, she turned and worriedly said, "Hey, you know something, right? Tell me, calling this a beast seems too mild. It's like a moving natural disaster." Tenmin Tsukishiro explained briefly. A special monster called a growth demon has taken over the silver wolf boss's body. However, Yuna didn't understand what a demon was, so he added, "They're powerful monsters that use demonic energy." Suddenly, a notification appeared before them. "You have entered the territory of a demon retainer. A restriction has been imposed due to the demon's presence. Living creatures within a 50 m radius cannot grow." Yuna read this and was completely taken aback. "A restriction," Tenmin Tsukishiro slowly continued for her. "I'll explain it briefly. It's exactly as I remember. A demon's restriction. The race that manipulates demonic energy and rules over evil has an inseparable characteristic. Each demon possesses its own territory and affects anyone who sets foot in it. The growth demon's restriction is growth limitation. Any living creature near it cannot grow. No matter what method they use, their weapons cannot awaken, their magic cannot activate. That means both power amplification and awakening new abilities become impossible. Currently, it only interferes with living creatures within a 50 m radius, but if this continues..." Yuna watched carefully and spoke again. "This is bad. It seems like it has detected our hiding place." The silver wolf sprinted off in an instant. It landed in front of Yuna and Tenmin Tsukishiro. The gust it created forced them to shield their eyes. To their surprise, what stood before them wasn't a silver wolf but a girl. Yuna looked astonished. "Its appearance," Tenmin Tsukishiro calmly added, "like the silver wolf, it's definitely an entity it absorbed in the past." The female elf began to move. In her hand was a sphere of energy. Then from that one sphere many others formed. This scene was beyond Tenmin Tsukishiro's and Yuna's expectations. He couldn't believe his eyes. "The information I have on growth demons doesn't include any skill like this. It must have stolen the skill that elf used." After confirming everything, Tenmin Tsukishiro quickly signaled to Yuna, "Dodge for now." Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at the cluster of energy spheres the elf had created and said, "Dodge when I signal." Then a notification appeared as he activated a skill. Perception level 10 activates effect. Opposite them, the female elf prepared to launch an attack. Her hand gathered a sphere of energy. Her fingers tightened. Tenmin Tsukishiro seized the moment and signaled at that instant, "Now." The elf unleashed those spheres toward them. On their side, Tenmin Tsukishiro and Yuna split in two directions. He moved while using agility level 10. Form technique level 10 activated its effect. Martial arts level 10 activated its effect. After that, Tenmin Tsukishiro landed safely. He breathed out wearily and thought, "I had to use 4 skills at once just to barely dodge that." Then he looked at his gear. "Without this armor, I'd be dead now. The demon's power truly exceeds what I imagined. I have to strike before the next attack comes." Above, the female elf lazily let out a long yawn. Tenmin Tsukishiro lunged at her immediately. This was beyond the elf's expectations. Tenmin Tsukishiro shouted the signal, "Sure again." Chains appeared simultaneously. They aimed for the opponent's limbs and bound them tight. Then Yuna signaled to Tenmin Tsukishiro, "Now." He rushed forward to attack. The skill used was Kirishima Flow. Tenmin Tsukishiro focused everything on the opponent as he delivered that single strike. He landed safely, thinking inwardly, "All right." Then Tenmin Tsukishiro turned back to assess the situation. The silver wolf stood right behind him but did not move. Only then did Tenmin Tsukishiro finally exhale in relief. They watched the opponent and began analyzing. It immediately transformed into the silver wolf leader and grew gigantic to minimize damage from the slash. At the same time, it had also broken free from the binding skill. Yuna went pale with worry as she signaled, "Careful. The silver wolf is gathering an energy orb in its mouth." Tenmin Tsukishiro was equally alarmed when he saw it. The silver wolf fired those power spheres. They flew and attacked Tenmin Tsukishiro, forcing him to flee headlong. As Tenmin Tsukishiro moved, he thought, that's an elf clan skill. It's using the wolf leader's body and elven magic at the same time. Absurd. Suddenly, a beam of light appeared from above. The beam shot down toward Tenmin Tsukishiro. He narrowly avoided it. Yuna provided timely support from the side. With her help, Tenmin Tsukishiro increased his movement speed and steadily put more distance between himself and the silver wolf, then turned and unleashed a single strike. It snarled and swung a heavy blow at Tenmin Tsukishiro. His body was blasted a great distance away. Tenmin Tsukishiro struggled to sit up beneath a newly formed tree. Above him, spheres were raining down in rapid succession. Tenmin Tsukishiro tried to dodge them all. Those attacks fell like a meteor shower. He moved while assessing the situation. If this turns into a war of attrition, we'll be at a disadvantage. There must be a way. His eyes found Yuna struggling, sure again. On this side, her complexion worsened. I'm almost out of mana. Tenmin Tsukishiro kept running with all his might. His foot stepped on something black on the ground. Tenmin Tsukishiro observed it and thought, the growth demon's body parts hit by single strike can't reattach to its main body. My attack must be effective. He accelerated while formulating his plan. Now all I need is a finishing blow. Tenmin Tsukishiro stared at the opponent. He swung his sword in a slash. The silver wolf's body took the full cut. It counterattacked almost immediately. Tenmin Tsukishiro landed safely, thinking inwardly, I really do have an attack strong enough. Special function of Soul Hunter. Soul Hunter, soul release, usable when enough monster souls have been collected. Envelops the sword with countless souls, greatly increasing attack power and area of effect for 5 seconds. After reading it, he looked back to observe the silver wolf, but I only have a mere 5 seconds. Then Tenmin Tsukishiro shouted loudly, sure again. Yuna turned toward the voice in astonishment. Wait, why are you running this way? Tenmin Tsukishiro scooped her up in his arms and continued running. As he ran, he asked, on its head, can you teleport us up there? Yuna below quickly replied, okay, but with the mana I have left, I can only use it one more time. Tenmin Tsukishiro replied with satisfaction, that'll be enough. They exchanged words while narrowly dodging another attack. She went pale with fear and shouted, are you crazy? Another beam of light appeared above them. This time its force was so great that it made the entire forest explode. Cracks formed in the sky. Immediately after, Tenmin Tsukishiro grabbed Yuna and escaped outward through one of those cracks. She was terrified and could only cling to him tightly. Another notification appeared, Soul Hunter activated soul release. Attack range and power were greatly increased for a limited time. Tenmin Tsukishiro launched another slash, mimicking Teo Soul Hunter soul release. The technique he used was the colossal single strike. The move produced an extremely blinding light. A notification popped up after that technique was cast, the demon has been defeated. Following that, the sea split in two. Yuna lay on the ground and exhaled tired breaths. She looked to the side and wondered, who on earth is he? All this time he was only an F-rank hunter, why would he hide his abilities? Meanwhile, over here Tenmin Tsukishiro was reading the notifications. Awakening quest complete. You have awakened as a D-rank hunter. Finally, I made D-rank, a rank I could never reach in my previous life. Yuna moved closer and urged, come on, get up, this isn't the time to be sleeping. However, he replied softly, I probably won't be able to move for a while. She looked around and reminded him, no, we'll be in big trouble if we don't move right now. Because the silver wolves had surrounded them without them noticing. They were growling terrifyingly. At that moment, Tenmin Tsukishiro negotiated aloud, just hold them off for 5 minutes. Yuna looked at him and exclaimed, oh my god. She also used a magic potion, an intermediate mana recovery medicine, restores mana. Then she reminded Tenmin Tsukishiro, after this, you'd better buy me a meal and I'll order the most expensive thing on the menu. He smiled and replied gently, even 1 minute is fine. Then Yuna began to activate her skill. The scale of the technique surprised Tenmin Tsukishiro a bit. Wait, sure again. A beam of dazzling energy shot out, ultimately leaving only one notification. All silver wolves have been defeated. The anomaly gate has been successfully conquered. The white-haired girl in Taiga Sejama's group shouted excitedly, "We're alive." The members emerged from the gate with various expressions. "I thought I was done for." Yuna supported Tenman Tsukishiro and half-jokingly, half-seriously asked, "You haven't forgotten that meal, right? The priciest thing on the menu." He whispered to himself in awe. She pushed back 50 silver wolves. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at the person beside him and signaled, "I'm fine now, I can walk from here." Then he added to Taiga Sejama, "Thank you, here I'll give this back to you." He was completely dismayed when he saw the condition of his armor. "My armor," the white-haired girl spoke up, "thanks to you two we managed to get back alive." Yuna spoke on their behalf. "The Hunter Association will contact you later, so when they do, be sure to explain everything clearly." She replied softly, "Yes, of course." And then made a request, "At least could you tell me your name?" Tenman Tsukishiro answered with a false name, Busen Goriki. But the other person sincerely continued, "Mr. Goriki, thank you, I will never forget what you did for me." Yuna couldn't help but be curious. "Goriki, are you wanted? Why are you hiding your identity?" Tenman Tsukishiro thought to himself, "It's not that I want to hide it. If a big guild recognized my potential and backed me, I could grow quickly, that would be ideal. The problem is I'm leveling up too fast. If I fall onto the blacklist of demons hiding in society, the game is over. At least until I'm strong enough to protect myself, I must not stand out." Yuna looked over and then understood. "So you want me to falsify this information in the report as well? Thanks to you we avoided a major disaster, but is doing it this way really okay?" Tenman Tsukishiro smiled beside her and continued, "Then you'd be doing me a big favor." This success embarrassed her. Yuna turned and quickly walked away. "Call me later, and don't you dare forget your promise to buy me a meal." But Tenman Tsukishiro suddenly changed his expression, calling out just as she'd taken a few steps, "Wait, Miss Shurigane." Yuna hesitated and turned back. "What is it?" Unexpectedly, Tenman Tsukishiro only called to ask one thing, "Could you teleport me closer? I'm dressed like this so." Yuna was so embarrassed she bristled. She decisively used teleportation on herself alone. Time passed to the next day. A system notification appeared the moment Tenman Tsukishiro woke. Activated natural recovery skill, effect level 10, extraordinary regeneration ability. He smiled and muttered, "What a broken skill." Gained a large amount of experience. Natural recovery level 10 plus 35%. Just one night's sleep and it increased by 35%. I defeated a demon and reached D rank, and now my skills can surpass level 10. Long live the limit break of inept adjustment. At that moment his phone suddenly rang. Seeing the notice, Tenman Tsukishiro silently evaluated, "The team leader from the temporary staffing agency I used to work for. I won't take on more temp jobs." After resolving that, he opened his tool chest and took out a crystal, a high-purity mana crystal. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at it and muttered, "Too bad it dropped from a D-rank dungeon, but the purity is pretty high. It should sell for about 500,000. He continued reading other quests. Limit Break Quest, Objective, Defeated Demon 1-1 Completion Reward, All Skills Max Level +1 per level Stat Growth times 1-2 Unlock the Karma Shop. Quest Complete, All Skills Max Level +1 per level Stat Growth times 1-2. The Reverse Karma Shop has been unlocked." Tenman Tsukishiro continued interacting with the screen. This doesn't look like a normal shop at all. He selected the new interface, Reverse Karma Shop. Important note, when your level reaches the cap, you receive points instead of experience. You can spend accumulated points in the shop. Purchases are final. Currently, it seems only the consumables shop is available. Weapons and accessories will be added later. However, Tenman Tsukishiro paid special attention to another line, Treasure Gathering Potion. The system has never given me anything that disadvantages me. For now, I'll spend the 500 points I have to buy it. The moment he selected it, a vial appeared in his hand. Treasure Gathering Potion, Common, Effect, reverses karma and points the way to treasure. Duration, 1 hour. Tenman Tsukishiro inspected it and quietly assessed. Money is an important weapon for conquering gates. Drinking this won't cost me anything. He then took a sip and felt his body change. It seemed like nothing had changed. But before he could finish the thought, something appeared above Tenman Tsukishiro's head. It hovered and moved around him, before stopping at Tenman Tsukishiro's phone, his phone. Then it crawled inside. It kept directing, "What is this? Do you want me to call him back?" Tenman Tsukishiro quickly complied, but he was greeted by a string of curses from the other side. "Hey, you life for hire. Why are you only calling back now? If you don't want to die, get your ass to the office immediately." The corner of Tenman Tsukishiro's mouth curved into a smile. "So that's what this is about." The man, hearing that, immediately asked, Hey, what did you just say?" "Stay right there for me." Tenman Tsukishiro promptly arrived at the requested location, moving according to the guidance of that mysterious sprite. A notification appeared as Tenman Tsukishiro stopped before a door. "Treasure searching potion is activating." He entered with a puzzled look. Treasure in a place like this? Unexpectedly, he had to dodge a glass orb thrown at him. "You bastard, you're just a useless filler." "Treasure in a place like this? The treasure searching potion is activating. We lost a major deal because of you. You'd better prepare yourself for what's coming today." "You bastard, you're just a useless filler." Tenman Tsukishiro observed the people in the room and thought, because they're just ordinary. The only reason he can boss me around despite me being the weakest F-rank hunter. Activated skill, memory search level 10. He looked at the two standing before him. Because of these two, D-rank hunter Masato Kaido, D-rank hunter Teiji Kumagawa. "These guys beat me up countless times." Teiji Kumagawa spoke without hurry. "Hey, what are you glaring at? Did you eat something weird?" Hiroki Gondo on the other side also gruffly added, "He's acting weird all of a sudden. Go teach him a lesson." Hearing that, Teiji Kumagawa grabbed Tenman Tsukishiro by the collar. "I guess you still don't understand your situation, do you?" He observed them and thought, although both are D-rank, I'm now on a completely different level. The skills of hunters stuck at early D-rank are at best level 5. Then he activated another skill, activated strength skill level 10. Teiji Kumagawa was thrown away violently, his whole body colliding with the bookshelf across the room. Hiroki Gondo and Masato Kaido were both taken aback. Masato Kaido was the next to rush in to attack. Tenman Tsukishiro activated another skill, activated perception skill level 10. Activated martial arts skill level 10. With a single punch, he defeated that man. Hiroki Gondo fumed and kept shouting, "What do you think you're doing? Do it properly." The others were also scrambling to get up. Teiji Kumagawa radiated killing intent as he spoke again. "This brat." Activated full body strength enhancement level 5. He charged forward quickly, but was stopped by Tenman Tsukishiro's punch. The blow sent him flying a great distance. His massive body collided with Hiroki Gondo. In the end, both men fell to the ground, but he still shouted insults. "I'll end your hunting career, trash." Tenman Tsukishiro stepped forward with a challenge. "What is that?" Hiroki Gondo was still yelling, "You think you can get away with this? Don't you know how small this industry is?" But Tenman Tsukishiro simply didn't care. Seeing his foot lift, Hiroki Gondo couldn't help feeling fear. "Hey, what are you going to do?" He was then forced to kneel and admit his fault. "I truly apologize for everything up until now." Tenman Tsukishiro leaned in and muttered, "Denying taxi fare from my daily pay is a bit much, don't you think?" Hiroki Gondo was so terrified he could only meekly agree. "I am deeply sorry. From now on, I will cover all travel expenses." Meanwhile, Tenman Tsukishiro turned his head, searching, but is there really money hidden here? Guided by the sprite, he quickly understood. "You mean tell me to search inside this bookshelf?" Tenman Tsukishiro approached the bookshelf and pulled several books to one side. A safe quickly appeared. Tenman Tsukishiro calmly remarked, "This is it." Hiroki Gondo began to panic. "Hey, what are you planning to do?" He just turned and glared at him. Hiroki Gondo immediately yielded, "I'm sorry. Anyway, that safe has a multi-layered 20-digit password. No skill in the world can open it." However, the sprite slipped inside the safe. With its assistance, the password was quickly entered. All codes were deciphered. Tenman Tsukishiro reached out and typed as instructed. Would whatever's inside lead me to the treasure? He muttered and slowly followed through. 723. At last the safe was opened. Hiroki Gondo was still stunned. 723. How did you? What caught Tenman Tsukishiro's attention was a monocrystal inlaid key that can unlock C rank and below devices. It would fetch no less than 1 million on the black market. I suppose making 1 million counts as acquiring a treasure, but isn't this basically robbery? That wasn't all. Tenman Tsukishiro saw several other items. There were papers reading, Yokohama Dungeon Survey Report minimum rank D+, extremely likely to contain a large quantity of mana crystals, currently unregistered with the association and kept secret per client request. Strategic info, extremely strong spiritual barrier at the entrance. Requires hunters to have at least C+ mental resistance skill. Reading this, Tenman Tsukishiro quickly realized, wait. I know this dungeon. If things go well, I could make a fortune here. Hiroki Gondo pleaded desperately, that's the site I spent a lot to prepare to conquer. Besides, a D-rank hunter can't even enter, so please. However, Tenman Tsukishiro decisively refused. Let me judge for myself. The door was suddenly pushed open to reveal someone's figure. Oh. Kyosuke slowly spoke. I didn't expect someone to get here before me. Tenman Tsukishiro looked at him, unable to hide the surprise on his face. No way, this man. Kyosuke found the reaction a bit puzzling. He stepped closer and asked, do you know who I am? Tenman Tsukishiro raised his guard and stared at the man, Kyosuke Sengoku. In this junk-filled world, no one didn't know that name. Kyosuke smiled and said again, I know who you are, the inept F-rank hunter Tenman Tsukishiro. That's what people call you here, right? He glanced toward the safe. Tenman Tsukishiro held up the stack of papers and said, is this what you were looking for? Kyosuke read a few lines and confirmed, how did you know? However, Hiroki Gondo loudly forbade them, don't touch that, anything but that. Kyosuke muttered in response, what a... He struck the other man hard in the nape, knocking Hiroki Gondo unconscious to the floor. Kyosuke looked at him and continued, why did you lie and say it wasn't here? Do you know how long I've been searching for this? More importantly, thank you for your cooperation. I want to express my gratitude properly another time. Call this number in a week. Tenman Tsukishiro accepted the slip of paper with an incredulous expression. Are you serious? Kyosuke's business card. From what he knew, this man was an S-rank hunter and the leader of an information network in the junk world. A figure called both hero and monster, who predicted the demon invasion thanks to his overwhelming intel network. Kyosuke was now slowly stepping toward the door. He paused as he prepared to leave. A remark was made, you're truly an interesting person. Kyosuke looked very serious as he added, I didn't expect even I would be fooled. Did you think I wouldn't notice just because the Hunter Association covered it up? You're the one who handled the Night Crow Guild incident, aren't you? Seeing Tenman's panicked face, Kyosuke calmly reassured him, I don't intend to threaten you, but I'm very curious why you did it. Next time we meet, I'd like to hear the whole story. See you then. With that, Kyosuke's figure vanished, leaving only a thin wisp of smoke. Tenman Tsukishiro flipped through the documents and glanced at the inbox on the system screen, inwardly pleased. Receiving Kyosuke's business card was an unexpected stroke of luck. A system notification appeared unexpectedly. You have acquired the luck skill level 1. The system began to explain, the chance of encountering good luck increases. Your everyday luck will also improve. Tenman Tsukishiro smiled faintly in admiration. With him around, making money is only a matter of time and gathering intel on demons will become much easier. This truly is unbelievable luck. The blue glow around the documents suddenly vanished and a notification appeared. The treasure effect has expired. He tilted his head, slightly disappointed. It's over already? Tenman Tsukishiro quickly opened the item shop. The screen appeared before him. He looked at the screen smugly, but I still have the talent acquiring potion. Of course, I need points to buy it. In that case, the next thing I need to do is level up. Tenman Tsukishiro flipped through the pages, quietly rejoicing. Thanks to Hiroki Gondo, he secured a steady source of funds. time to start collecting the necessary gear. At Ryuzen Shopping Street, Tenman Tsukishiro blended into the bustling crowd. He entered a weapons shop and held his phone list up, calling out, "I'd like to see the items on this list." The shop manager cheerfully replied, "Right away, please wait a moment." Stepping out of the shop, Tenman Tsukishiro sighed inwardly. "Although I just earned that money, I've already spent a large chunk." He was weighed down by a bunch of gear. Hunter's shovel 150,000 yen, Hunter's backpack 145,000 yen, Hunter's pickaxe 200,000 yen. He reassured himself, "Oh well, they're absolutely necessary for the next dungeon." He looked at his phone showing his meager account balance. Tenman Tsukishiro forced a wry smile to console himself. "Yes, this is just an upfront investment. All right, time to go make some more money." Yokohama, as the sunlight faded, Tenman Tsukishiro kept digging tirelessly. The layer of soil and rock ahead collapsed, revealing a door leading into an inner chamber. Tenman Tsukishiro slung on his backpack and stepped into the chamber, thinking, instead of monsters, there's a mental barrier right at the entrance, just as the documents described. He looked ahead warily. Something is blocking progress inside. If an ordinary hunter tried to force through this mental barrier, they'd lose their mind or be reduced to a vegetable. Tenman Tsukishiro put one foot into the barrier, and a heavy pressure pressed down on his body. The system screen quickly notified, "Activated effect of spirit strength skill level 3, resistance to mental magic." Tenman Tsukishiro kept telling himself, "Don't be fooled, this is just mental magic trying to shake my emotions." Malicious voices kept creeping into his mind. "Worthless trash, stop interfering and go look for mana crystals. You're just a useless burden, you're an F-rank hunter, so know your place and fall back. Someone like you calling yourself a hunter." Tenman Tsukishiro clutched his head in panic, struggling to hold on. The negative emotions he remembered from before his rebirth surged like violent waves. It felt as if he were being dragged back into those dark days. Accusatory voices echoed without cease. "F-rank trash hunter Tenman Tsukishiro, bringing a goblin along would be better than bringing you." Tenman Tsukishiro's face went pale as he murmured, "I felt this awful sensation so many times I can't count." Still, he dragged himself forward, telling himself, "I'm no longer the incompetent man I used to be. Focus, even if slow, keep moving forward." The system displayed again, "Activated effect of spirit strength skill level 3, resistance to mental magic." System notifications rang out repeatedly. "You have acquired spirit strength skill level 4. You have acquired spirit strength skill level 5. Tenman Tsukishiro wearily braced himself against the wall. He sank down, gasping in the dark corridor. Tenman Tsukishiro looked up, sweat-soaked, thinking, "Without spirit strength, I definitely couldn't have made it." Tenman Tsukishiro passed through the gate and entered a vast chamber. He eyed the mental barrier before him, doubting, has an even stronger mental barrier been set up beyond this point? Tenman Tsukishiro looked around warily, puzzled. "I've gone quite deep inside, yet I still don't see any monsters at all." He suddenly realized something, a D-rank gate with a mental barrier and no monsters. Could this place be activated memory search skill level 10? Memories unfolded around him like film, leaving Tenman Tsukishiro bewildered. The document said top C-rank hunters could reach it, but that was only true up to the entrance. Beyond the gate is a barrier that even S-rank hunters cannot easily break. An even more terrifying mental barrier exists there. Because of this, the gate was ultimately occupied by a Legion Commander demon. It would be seized by an invincible demon. The Legion Commander is an entity with overwhelming power. Even among demons possessing absolute strength comparable to SSS rank hunters, they drove humanity to the brink of despair. Tenman Tsukishiro looked ahead and wondered, "Thanks to memory search, I now remember everything perfectly. So are the items I can take here the things that will bring me luck?" He quickly entered the barrier, thinking, behind this mental barrier is where the equipment the future Legion Commander will use is stored. Tenman Tsukishiro rapidly scanned his old memories via the Hunter Monthly magazine. From here on, not only mental attacks but also traps await him. A psychic blow struck hard, leaving him dazed. Tenman Tsukishiro clutched his head in pain under the crushing pressure, his face showing clear panic. Tenman Tsukishiro hurriedly activated skills to avoid the deadly traps. Activated Perception Skill Level 10, Activated Agility Skill Level 10. He stumbled backward in alarm. Activated Perception Skill Level 10. Tenman Tsukishiro eyed the 3 arrows ahead and silently ordered, Activate Agility Skill Level 10. A shaft of light enveloped him as Tenman Tsukishiro quickly calculated, if I wait to see it before dodging, it'll be too late. I must dodge the instant I hear a sound. Activate Perception Skill Level 10. Arrows continued to plunge down from the ceiling. Tenman Tsukishiro nimbly stepped aside to evade. Arrows shot out from all directions immediately. The system notifications rang non-stop. Using his agile body, he avoided the barrage of arrows. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 6. His skill kept leveling up through the trials. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 7. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 8. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 9. Tenman Tsukishiro quickly leapt to avoid a collapsing patch of ground. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 10. He dashed forward. Behind him, a stone bridge clung closely in pursuit. Tenman Tsukishiro dropped flat as the stone bridge flew past. The system announced, you have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 11. The system's congratulatory chime sounded. Spirit Strength has reached max level. Additional effects will be granted. Tenman Tsukishiro sat up, bemused. Is this the power of level 11? I feel completely normal, even while enduring psychic attacks. A screen immediately appeared before him. Resistance to mental magic. You will no longer receive adverse effects. Strict limits on mental magic. Tenman Tsukishiro wondered. Resistance to mental magic. A purple mist suddenly spread from all around. Tenman Tsukishiro looked around warily. This fog is. According to the Hunter Monthly, this fog signals the start of a psychic assault that even S-rank hunters find unbearable. Tenman Tsukishiro walked on as tormenting memories replayed. Please let me out, kill me. The screams and pleas, painful figures echoed everywhere. Die, die, I wish you never existed, you bastard. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Tenman Tsukishiro looked around and thought, these are illusions born from the memories of those who once entered this gate. You have acquired Spirit Strength Skill Level 11. You will no longer receive adverse effects. Thanks to this skill, I can keep my composure. Tenman Tsukishiro moved through the mist. He suddenly halted as a night radiating dangerous purple light came into view. Tenman Tsukishiro quickly drew his sword and said seriously, a boss, huh? If I defeat this one, I can get that item. His sword unexpectedly emitted a massive surge of magical energy. The system promptly displayed the item's information. Name, Soul Hunter tainted by demonic aura. Rarity, ultra rare, attack stat 30+3. Special abilities, release soul, devour ma aura. Soul Hunter ma aura, devour ma aura permanently increases attack by 3. Each time it absorbs ma aura. He wondered, is this a new trait I gained after defeating the growth demon? If it comes to swordplay, I have no reason to back down. Tenman Tsukishiro rushed forward to attack the boss with swordsmanship skill level 10. The boss swiftly swung his sword toward him. The black-purple sword aura collided violently with the blue light on his blade. And a burst of force suddenly exploded, knocking Tenman Tsukishiro backward. He looked at the boss in confusion. My attacks aren't dealing any damage at all. The system promptly notified, activated endurance skill level 10. You can continue acting even when suffering critical wounds. Tenman Tsukishiro stared at the boss in alarm. Not only is he extremely durable, he's also using sword aura imbued with magic. Figures of swordsmen suddenly appeared around them. A whole regiment instantly materialized surrounding the boss. Tenman Tsukishiro pointed his sword at it, worrying, and on top of that it summons monsters. Can someone at level 20 like me really defeat this? Tenman Tsukishiro paused as a thought struck him. Wait, do you get experience from the monsters the boss summons? I'm pretty sure I can gain experience from its minions. Now that I've been promoted to D rank, I can level up again. If I kill the summoned monsters, I'll get experience. Tenman Tsukishiro smiled faintly at the boss before him. He activated the level up challenge, preparing to unlock a new possession trait. Incompetent calibration, break the limits. Difficulty and skill drop rates increase significantly. Experience points are multiplied by 100,000. The skill level cap of 10 is removed and all stats are multiplied by 1.2. Special items will be provided when the awakening quest begins. The system shop evolves into the karma reversal shop. A surge of power radiated from the sword in his hand, and the eyes behind it widened. The system displayed activated intimidation skill level 7. The knight turned his head toward the source of the sound. Taking the opportunity, Tenman Tsukishiro swung his sword, Kirishima Flow, single line slash. The knight, unable to react in time, was cut down, and a stream of black air surged out from the iron armor, engulfing the blade. Thanks to the incompetent calibration talent breaking the limits, the additional stat gains were multiplied by 1.2. Immediately, a series of notifications appeared. Activated incompetent calibration X talent, experience gained will be multiplied by 100,000. Power within him grew steadily. Level up, you have now reached level 30. The knight raised his sword high in the air. He then suddenly lunged forward at high speed. A surge of force propelled Tenman Tsukishiro into the air. He used the momentum to launch himself straight at the opponent. Activated perception skill level 10, martial arts level 10, skills supporting rapid physical change activated. Immediately after, Tenman Tsukishiro brought his sword down in a straight strike. When finished, he carefully landed on the ground. His body flashed with light in midair. Notifications kept increasing. He looked up and around. It seems they've stopped appearing. The sword in his hand had built up enough power. Only the boss remained. A figure streaked through the air. The blade's path struck the ground, causing it to explode. Seeing that, Tenman Tsukishiro proactively met the attack. Activated 1 slash skill level 10. The razor-sharp slash tore through space itself. The knight's eyes flashed a blazing red. Immediately, the helmet was cleaved in two. The spinning slash sent the wall crumbling to pieces. The system displayed a notification. The Soul Hunter is absorbing Ma Aura, attack power +3. Seeing that, the corner of his mouth twitched. So this is the power of leveling up. Very quickly, the surrounding knights were felled one after another. Karma reversal shop effect. You have reached max level. Points will be awarded instead of experience. You received 213 points, total 242. Dungeon boss defeated. Completion rewards are being distributed. Tenman Tsukishiro's eyes shone as he carried the treasure in his hands. Wait a moment, hint. Unlike gates, dungeons always have completion rewards. So then, exactly what item did that Legion commander use? A golden light settled into his palm, and then it transformed into a ring. Seeing that, Tenman Tsukishiro widened his eyes and stared. Truly, one shouldn't judge an item by its appearance. The system simultaneously brought up a notification. His expression briefly surprised. This is a growth-type item. My talent multiplies experience by 100,000 and a growth-type item will develop alongside its user by absorbing their experience. A series of information was provided. Status, name, Tenman Tsukishiro, age, 24, level 40, locked, rank D, talent, incompetent calibration X, points, 313. You have reached the maximum level of 40. A new quest has been issued. An item is being granted due to the effect of incompetent calibration breaking the limits. He slowly scanned the board. Okay, what's the next task? Another notification appeared in succession. Rank D, limit break quest, objective. Collect Demon Spring Sources 03, completion rewards. Additional stat growth per level times 1, 3. Maximum levels of designated skills increased by 2. Unlock a new category in the Karma Reversal Shop. Unlock new special effects for the incompetent calibration talent. This information stunned Tenman Tsukishiro. Collect Demon Spring Sources. Does the system know what I'm trying to do? Preventing the destruction of the world from the demon invasion. That's why I returned to the past. This aligns so precisely that it can hardly be a coincidence. The two worlds are separated. The reason the full demon forces haven't invaded this world is that its environment differs greatly from the demon realm. A series of locations were marked. The Ma Aura Project. The demon relics containing concentrated Ma Aura across the earth are being covered by placing demon spring sources at many different sites. They are plotting to invade this world. The execution was decided. The testimony from the traitor colluding with the demons was truly shocking. A voice mixed with laughter echoed through the space. Do you think the invasion began out of nowhere? I suppose it may seem that way to you, but you are wrong. Pausing, the speaker looked up and muttered, "The demons had prepared long before we humans realized it. They gathered demon spring sources to plot the invasion of the human world. The Manhwa Project, that's what it's called. I truly didn't know they were plotting to wipe out humanity." His expression remained as cold as ever. Then a blade from above was dropped. Tenman Tsukishiro focused his thoughts. If I destroy the demon spring sources, I can stop the invasion into the real world. That's the best strategy to halt the Manhwa Project. Now the next objective is set. It's time to check the rewards. The system displayed on the board. An item is being granted due to the effect of incompetent calibration breaking the limits. A flash of light dazzled before his eyes. The items I received each time I hit the level cap before were the Soul Hunter. I wonder what type of item this will be this time. At first glance, Tenman Tsukishiro felt overwhelmed. This is. Another object appeared in his hand, a spiked spear. Things went on like that. A week later, he glanced around the space. This was a scene I had never seen before. Returning to the past. I don't want to lose it again. Then Tenman Tsukishiro took his phone out of his pocket. Messages from 2 people had arrived. He chose to ignore them for now. I'll just ignore these for the time being. He finished speaking, then looked up and took a deep breath. And the corner of Tenman Tsukishiro's mouth involuntarily curved. I can't believe I finally made it here. The Hunter Training Center, a facility every elite hunter had visited at least once. I couldn't come before because I had no money, but this time my budget is quite ample, so why not give it a try? The sound of an engine beside him caught his attention. A car before him barreled in at terrifying speed. Tenman Tsukishiro quickly jumped back, activating perception skill level 10. He couldn't help shouting, "Are you trying to kill me or what?" The car door then slowly opened, and a figure stepped out. That silhouette left Tenman Tsukishiro momentarily stunned. "You are." Seeing him, Teo excitedly called out, "Master." He couldn't believe he'd found his master here. "As for this, I bought it with the signing bribe money from the guild. After all, a star needs a sports car, right?" Seeing Tenman's stunned expression, he added, "The Guardian Guild." Sword of the Guardian, Silver Wing Guild, 5-Star Guild. These 3 organizations reign supreme as the nation's top guilds. Sword of the Guardian, or simply Guardian, had recognized Teo Kirishima's Sword Saint talent. Thinking that, he guessed, their signing bribe must have been enormous. No wonder he could buy it. Then Tenman Tsukishiro reminded him, "Please don't call me master anymore." The other person startled and blurted, "Why not?" He didn't beat around the bush. "It sounds too imposing." The other asked blankly, "So what should I call you then?" Tenman Tsukishiro thought for a moment and replied, "Calling me Big Brother doesn't feel right either. Just call me whatever you like." Hearing that, Teo rubbed his chin thoughtfully, adding, "An older brother doesn't fit me well either." Seeing that, he turned to leave. "Then I'll take my leave." He hurriedly ran after him. "Wait." A price list with various tiers was brought over. At the sight of it, Tenman Tsukishiro exclaimed, "Just 1 session costs this much. I don't even know how their business operates. Maybe I'll start by trying the A-class room." Before he finished, Teo slid over a card. "Yes." The receptionist immediately greeted them warmly. "I'll take you to the VIP training room." He gaped at the card. "What?" At that moment, Teo turned back and called, "Do you want to come with me, master?" Tenman Tsukishiro forced a smile. "My disciple." Very quickly, they were led into the training room. The spear flew straight through a pillar and stuck into the wall. He followed it with his eyes and ordered it to return. He followed it with his eyes and ordered it to return, and it instantly came back into his hand. Seeing that, Tenman Tsukishiro smiled in satisfaction. It just comes back to his hand by saying or thinking recall. From afar, Teo stepped forward curiously. "A new weapon, what skills does it have?" Tenman Tsukishiro then slowly recounted, "I just threw it really hard." He thought to himself, its instantaneous destructive power surpasses the Soul Devourer. It could be useful as an offhand weapon. At that moment, a giant dragon flew in from afar. Teo took a running start and surged forward. I can't fall behind my master. The sword sliced out a series of masterful cuts. Tenman Tsukishiro looked up and watched intently. No wonder he's called a sword saint. I can't even imitate that move. Finally, he landed safely. But Teo's face was uneasy. Not like that. Master, could you perform the one thrust slash again? He quickly understood inwardly. You're trying to perform the one thrust slash. It seems it's still not perfected. Like I taught you, apply the theory of connecting heaven and earth and keep swinging the sword. Teo repeated blankly. Keep swinging the sword, but how? No sooner had he finished speaking than Tenman Tsukishiro took a running start. The spear in his hand began to swing, like this. The slash cut straight through the wall. Thanks to the incompetent calibration effect breaking limits, you received a massive amount of experience points. You have gained one thrust slash skill level 11. Dust and smoke made it hard for Teo to see. When it was over, Tenman Tsukishiro slowly descended. He rushed over, sobbing nonstop. This is no longer an ordinary one thrust slash. I'll name it Tsukishiro break one thrust slash. Hearing that, the other flailed in surprise. What's the big deal? The other decisively hugged him tight. I didn't expect you could evolve a skill. Amazing. At that moment, his phone suddenly rang. The screen showing the caller as Kyosuke. Then Tenman Tsukishiro turned his back and left. Thanks for letting me use the training room. I have an urgent matter, so I'll head out first. Teo remained kneeling on the ground in silence. Then he clenched his fist in determination. Tsukishiro style one thrust slash. I swear I will reach that realm. Later they went to a small tavern together. Kyosuke took the initiative to speak. Thank you very much for your cooperation the other day. I can't go into details, but thanks to you our guild's standing has completely changed. You could call it a godsend. That said, I want to express my gratitude in my own way. My principle is to always repay favors. Saying that, he lowered his voice and emphasized, I don't want to owe anyone. The two of them stood facing each other, the broker of information in the scrap world. Kyosuke held his head high and declared bluntly, listen carefully, F-rank Hunter Tenman Tsukishiro. I am an ally of humanity, but I am not a philanthropist. If you want to survive, bring me useful information or abilities. He didn't reply but thought, I didn't expect him to speak like that in this situation. The man in my memory was completely different from other heroes. He always acted based on careful calculation. In other words, that means I might currently be someone he needs. Thinking that, Tenman Tsukishiro produced a bag. You will repay the favor, right? He opened it with suspicion. What is this? He carefully explained. These are mana crystals obtained from clearing a D-rank dungeon secretly owned by Gondo. I want to use them to trade with you. And not just this once, but continuously from now on. Kyosuke stared at the man before him for a long moment. A large quantity of unidentified mana crystals would be difficult to trade without guild-level trust, but if it's about money, he probably wouldn't care. Understood. I never go back on my word. You said you'd cooperate with whatever I need. That attitude surprised Tenman Tsukishiro a little. The treasure-searching potion really is remarkably effective. Then he took out a piece of paper. One more thing. He took it and examined it. Some kind of list, names, locations, and item names too. Hearing that, Tenman Tsukishiro fell silent. The information I have is only general. I don't have full detailed data on them. There must be details here related to the origins of the Ma aura somewhere. Someone with his abilities would surely find them. I want you to find them for me. At this, he seemed less optimistic. I'd like to help you search, but this looks to be on a much larger scale than I anticipated. It would be a huge help if you could lend me a hand. He smiled and replied, of course. No sooner had he spoken than Kyosuke continued. D-rank mercenary Tenman Tsukishiro. He was momentarily startled inwardly. How did he know I'm D-rank? He calmly admitted, that's right. He set the tablet on the table. It's a special dungeon we're preparing to conquer. But because there's a restriction limited to D-rank and below, we're in a situation where we need someone with skills like yours. Tenman Tsukishiro glanced down at the screen. Finally, it has arrived. The real reason Kyosuke Sengoku called me here. Kyosuke chuckled softly. I want you to bring me the Aldoria gem. I absolutely need it. He fell silent and thought for a while. The Aldoria gem, the name sounds familiar. Am I the only one participating in this? Kyosuke quickly explained. There are other outstanding talents even among the D ranks. After speaking, he asked expectantly, do you want to meet them first? Far from the city stretched towering, overlapping mountain ranges. As soon as the two arrived, they stepped forward and greeted. Hello, hello. Tenman Tsukishiro's face went blank. The outstanding talents. Are these the two of them? They stood there waiting for him to speak. No response came. Yakumo stepped forward first. Introduce yourselves a little. My name is Masayoshi Yakumo. I'm 27. I'm the tank. I want the damage dealers to trust me and focus on attacking. Iron Blue Yakumo, he's notorious everywhere for his cruel nature, a name that doesn't fit him at all. The ringleader bully of the hunter world, an irredeemable scumbag who kills rookies. Then he continued, I'm Yazaki, I use lightning magic. The electro-psychopath Jin Yazaki. This man would later become a villain and take many lives. Remembering that made him exclaim inwardly, Kyosuke Sengoku, you truly worship meritocracy to the extreme. At that moment, another person spoke. My main weapon is a dagger. Nice to meet you. She looked up and loudly asked, what are you staring at? Tenman Tsukishiro hesitated, about to say something. Could it be? The other cut in coldly, we just need to finish the job quickly and leave. No need to introduce ourselves, right? He inwardly rejoiced, I remember now. Immediately after, a name was called out, Akin Hashimori. She paused for a moment. How do you know my name? He only smiled without explaining. That's Sengoku, at least he brought in someone decent. One of the last survivors, an SSS rank hunter, a monster of the illusion world, Akin Hashimori. Ruins stretched everywhere. The people living in this broken world each carried their own pains and suffering, families torn apart, promises broken, and they slowly lost their minds under horrific psychological trauma. Among them, the truly strange were called eccentrics. She was one of them. She didn't work, trade, or bother negotiating. She survived entirely by stealing. Whether demon folk, magical beasts, or even humans, all were her targets. Of course, even pitiable refugees were not spared. Now the two stood facing each other. He hadn't expected to encounter her in a place like this. Akin Hashimori asked confusedly, is there something on my face? So who are you? Then he introduced himself. I'm Tenman Tsukishiro, a D-rank hunter. I use sword and spear, roughly speaking. Masayoshi Yakumo smiled from a distance and approached. Shall we go in then? They then proceeded to step through the gate one by one. A notification appeared before his eyes, entering special dungeon. The gate quickly closed. All members met the requirement to enter the special dungeon of D rank and below. Tenman Tsukishiro closed his eyes and looked into the distance. At this moment, they were walking across a desert. Akin Hashimori kept complaining as she walked, we're going to die. Jin Yazaki grimaced and cried, it's too hot. Only he remained clear-headed. Wait a moment, I picked up some stone coolers earlier. No sooner had he spoken than a bag of magical cooling stones appeared. Seeing that, Tenman Tsukishiro relaxed. It seemed they'd received some information from Sengoku beforehand. That meant Yakumo was the team leader. She breathed out comfortably, I'm alive again. Masayoshi Yakumo quickly reminded them, let's continue onward, stay alert. Thus they continued walking in sequence for a while. When he suddenly spoke up, hey, wait a moment. Tenman Tsukishiro looked out. There were magical beasts ahead. The system announced, skill sense activated level 10. Hearing that, he tried to observe. I don't see anything at all. But it's fine if magical beasts appear. I'll block any attacks aimed at us. I'm the team leader, don't worry, just follow me. The ground before them suddenly exploded. A giant scorpion burst out, digging through the earth. Soon after, a stream of others appeared. You were right, your eyes are sharp. With that, Yakumo stepped forward proactively. Everyone fall back behind me. His power radiated instantly. Come on, charge. The system also announced, skill taunt activated level 5. Very quickly, the space was controlled by Yakumo. A massive shield prevented the scorpions from breaking through. At that moment Jin Yazaki also stepped up to help. Move aside, lightning magic incoming. A colossal bolt of lightning struck the scorpion, and the area was immediately enveloped in arcs of electricity. At the same time, Akin Hashimori took a running leap. The sword in her hand easily sliced them to pieces. Very quickly, the scorpions were defeated. Masayoshi Yakumo couldn't help but exclaim, "Impressive." She shrugged nonchalantly, "What's the big deal?" Tenman Tsukishiro stood there and silently applauded. They'd formed a fairly solid team. It seemed there was nothing left for him to do. Suddenly a call cut in. "Hey, can't you at least pretend to do something?" Then he remembered, right. The ground beneath their feet suddenly trembled. Akin Hashimori gasped, "What is that?" Tenman Tsukishiro's expression darkened. "Something is coming." No sooner had he spoken than a gigantic claw shot up. It grabbed her and hauled her up into the air. The giant scorpion opened its mouth and roared. Jin Yazaki backed away in panic. "What do we do?" Yakumo for the moment was helpless. "Damn, my taunt isn't working." A continuous alert appeared. Using taunt skill level 5, taunt ineffective due to excessive level gap with the target monster. At that moment, Tenman Tsukishiro slowly placed his hand on the ground. A figure slept peacefully before a warm fire. A hand reached out and gently shook him. "Kyoya, wake up." He groggily opened his eyes. "What's going on?" Tenman Tsukishiro put a finger to his lips and signaled, "Follow me. Quietly, I'll make sure no one notices you." Kyoya looked at the man, digging in confusion. "You suddenly called me out here. Why are you digging a hole all of a sudden?" No sooner had he spoken than he suddenly exclaimed, "Look. There's a small box down there, candies and juice. Where did you get these?" Tenman Tsukishiro carefully picked it up. "I had a hard time collecting these. I want to give them to you." Kyoya cried in astonishment. "For me? Why?" He turned and smiled. "Today's your birthday, right?" Hearing that, he couldn't hold back his emotion. "Thank you so much." Then Tenman Tsukishiro reminded him, "Eat it secretly so you don't get discovered." Kyoya replied happily, "Yes, sir." Suddenly a force struck the back of his neck. Her silhouette appeared right behind him. Tenman Tsukishiro shouted in surprise, "Who are you?" Her gaze drifted off into the distance. And immediately Tenman Tsukishiro was struck by an attack as well. Akin Hashimori headed straight for the food. Her hand reached out to pop open a can of drink. Then she tipped her head back and drank in one gulp. The food had been consumed cleanly. Kyoya choked back tears. "It's all gone." The man beside him could only curse, "Damn it." She calmly ate then. Her face assaulted him with that cold stare. "To this day I still can't forget the candies I painstakingly gathered to throw a birthday party for Kyoya. In a ruined world, they were more precious than treasure. Yet she stole everything. Right now she was struggling and screaming, 'Help.'" Tenman Tsukishiro smirked slightly. "Serves her right." The two before him looked flustered. Seeing that, he loudly reminded, "Use your shield." Seizing the moment, Tenman Tsukishiro dashed forward, planting his foot hard on the shield to gain momentum. Immediately after, Tenman Tsukishiro leaped into the air. At that moment, a spear appeared in his hand. "Use recall spear." Quickly he locked onto a target. The giant centipede's weak point was its head. The spear flew as the system announced, "Throw skill activated level 11." The scorpion's body was instantly split in two. Akin Hashimori was thus released, and he slowly hauled her out from the thick sand. Masayoshi Yakumo approached in astonishment. "So you were hiding this kind of strength?" Tenman Tsukishiro hesitated slightly, then his gaze shifted to a spot. A sound came from beneath Akin Hashimori's feet, and the surrounding ground suddenly gave way. They were momentarily unable to react. He realized it and shouted, "That's a lion ant trap, get out of there quickly." She stayed behind, disgruntled, "Hey, why is it always me?" Seeing that, Tenman Tsukishiro was very pleased. "That's called karma, a payment from the future." Nearby, two people observed everything. "Is it over there? I heard some guild might be sweeping this place, but..." Before he finished the sentence, he was cut off. "The chief ordered us to deal with them quietly." The other frowned and continued, "We'll avoid clashes, find an opening, and just take the demonic spring." Then a voice rang from behind, "You misunderstand. Dealing with them quietly means we can kill them all if they so much as annoy us, right? His expression froze. What? The villainous guild Black Knot, Rikuhimuro sneered coldly. Are you stupid? Are you really going to let a perfect opportunity like this slip? Black Knot is one of the country's top mid-tier guilds. On the surface, they seem respectable, but they gather villainous hunters, those who have committed crimes like robbery, arson, and murder. Someone in the room was speaking. We just received news that Rikuhimuro has entered the dungeon, and as expected, the presence of the Advance Guild has been confirmed. He asked, you gave them the orders correctly, right? Black Knot Villain Guild, traitor to humanity Hiroki Igarashi, order them to slaughter anyone who stands in their way. The assistant answered fearfully, yes. After that he left, leaving only Igarashi in the room. He angrily punched the table to pieces. Damn it. Igarashi flared up at being upstaged. How the hell did an unknown guild snatch ownership of this dungeon? Think back, we were going to casually gather D-rank elites to conquer it. If we lose the mana vein, that person will kill us. Cut to the dungeon side. Jin Yazaki snapped, are you stupid? If we're allowed to kill them, why keep them alive? The man retorted, hey, I'm the team leader here if you plan to cause trouble. But Rikuhimuro cut him off, pinned him down forcefully, and then Rikuhimuro executed him on the spot. The remaining man screamed in shock. He asked bewildered, what do you think you're doing? Rikuhimuro declared, you will go fight them and die right now. He couldn't believe it. You crazy bastard, why are you doing this? Rikuhimuro replied calmly, do you need a reason to kill someone? He gave a twisted smile, of course because it's fun. This action terrified the man and sent him sprawling backward. Rikuhimuro slowly closed in. Yes, that look on your face is irresistible. You're furious because you thought we were comrades and I've betrayed you, right? But at the same time, you're terrified. He asked again, am I wrong? Then came the dreadful screams. After a while, only Rikuhimuro remained. He was satisfied. All right, that's one against four, huh? Rikuhimuro eagerly said, I can't wait to see their faces. Later, in a corner of the forest, Akin Hashimari complained, I can't believe it turned from day to night in just 30 minutes. Masayoshi Yakumo added, maybe because this is a special dungeon, time shifts erratically, it's kind of great, like camping. One day I'll found my own guild. He rambled about his ideals. A guild bound by no one, I want it to be a free guild. When the time comes, would you join my guild? Tenman Tsukishiro thought to himself, and in the very guild he plans to found for freedom, he'd stockpile brutality and cruelty and beat to death his own underlings. Jin Yazaki interjected, I think I'll pass, I have other things to do. Tenman Tsukishiro knew full well the other things he meant, electrocuting innocent civilians, right? Akin Hashimori sighed, I'll pass too, I'm not interested in guilds. She said, because I'll join the Heroes Association, a hero of justice, someone willing to sacrifice themselves for others, that's my dream. Tenman Tsukishiro was exasperated with them. A petty thief wanting to be a hero, Akin Hashimori curiously asked, where are you going? He replied, just scouting around a bit. As he walked, Tenman Tsukishiro thought, at this rate, tomorrow might never come, I can't just sit and wait. System notice, memory search. Tenman Tsukishiro calculated, traitor to humanity Hiroki Igarashi. He said the mana vein is inside the pyramid. System displayed, sensory skill effect level 10 activated. Sensory skill experience has increased significantly. At that moment, a hand lunged from behind and grabbed him. Tenman Tsukishiro caught it. Akin Hashimori cried out in pain. He was a bit surprised. So it was you, she gasped. I hid so well, how did you find me? Tenman Tsukishiro didn't answer but asked instead, why were you following me? Akin Hashimori honestly said, because the looks on those two seemed suspicious. My instincts told me following you would be better. Tenman Tsukishiro suddenly had an idea. On reflection, if I use Hashimori's skill, it seems I could retrieve the mana vein easily. Tenman Tsukishiro signaled, follow me. Akin Hashimori curiously asked, where are we going? After a while they arrived before a pyramid. He said, the thing you love most in the world is inside this. Akin Hashimari was surprised. How do you know what I like? We only met today, right? She also pointed out, besides, my danger sensing skill is warning that place is very ominous. Tenmin Tsukishiro was astonished. It's hard to believe someone like her was carried off by a centipede and fell into a lion ant pit. She scratched her head awkwardly. Maybe my form is just a bit off today. Tenmin Tsukishiro stepped inside. I guarantee it. If you follow me, I absolutely won't let you regret it. Then he walked in without saying another word. Akin Hashimari watched from behind and suddenly felt reassured. Look closely, he actually is pretty handsome. Anyway, he saved me earlier, so I'll trust him for now. She quickly hurried after him. Wait a moment, if you make me regret this, I won't forgive you. Tenmin Tsukishiro thought to himself, the reason Hashimori's danger sense didn't trigger earlier is probably because the system knew I'd save her. If the outcome is ultimately safe, the danger sense won't activate. They went deeper inside. Hey, that uneasy feeling I sensed from the entrance. Suddenly she was puzzled. It just disappeared. Tenmin Tsukishiro instructed, just follow me and don't worry. As long as you don't do anything unnecessary, nothing will happen. Akin Hashimori pouted. I wasn't doing anything. More importantly, my instincts say there's something over here. He confidently asserted, follow me. Sensory skill experience increased significantly. System notice, you have acquired sensory skill level 11. Upon reaching level 11, you received an additional effect. You can now view certain system notifications from party members. Akin Hashimori ran ahead. This way, I'll show you the power of my danger sense. She said, see, completely normal. Behind her, a boulder was chasing. Doesn't that look more like she's running than sensing danger? Weird, it's not usually like this. She turned and asked, hey, aren't you going to run? Instant slash. Tenmin Tsukishiro delivered a powerful strike. Akin Hashimori looked dumbfounded. Seriously, you're really only D rank. System notice, sensory skill level 11 effect activated. He realized there's something beneath here. Tenmin Tsukishiro stomped hard on the crack, and a tunnel immediately opened. He announced, I found a shortcut. Akin Hashimori blurted out, who are you really? Then the two descended the stairs below. She looked at what lay ahead and asked, don't tell me this is a duplicate, right? Tenmin Tsukishiro recalled, Igarashi said the Sphinx is guarding the mana vein. A gloomy voice echoed, challengers have set foot in the desert, except the trial of the sandstorm. Akin Hashimori incredulously, a trial, why me? Then the formation was activated, and a barrage of flames shot up to greet them. She anxiously asked, what do we do now? Tenmin Tsukishiro pointed out, look above the Sphinx. The two quickly jumped onto it. Seconds later, they landed safely. Akin Hashimori asked curiously, what trial is it talking about? Do we just have to survive this explosion? He explained, that's one way, but we'll approach it differently. Prepare. Prepare for what? Tenmin Tsukishiro bluntly said, to steal. She couldn't believe it. Hey. Akin Hashimori erupted, exactly what are you making me do? Tenmin Tsukishiro replied calmly, what you do best. His hand deftly grabbed her sleeve. Wait. Tenmin Tsukishiro pulled out a wallet. You can steal anything with your theft skill, right? Just like when you snatched everyone's wallets. Akin Hashimori was shocked. I don't know how you learned my skill, but no way, why should I follow your orders? At that moment, the explosion intensified and they could hardly stand. Something was being shot toward the two of them. Tenmin Tsukishiro urged urgently, stop dawdling. Akin Hashimori found herself cornered. If you don't want to die, steal from the Sphinx. System notice, absolute plunder activated. Akin Hashimori regretted, I shouldn't have followed. She unleashed her move, straight slash. System display, perception level 11, inspecting part of party member Hashimori's skill. Absolute plunder has activated, plundering reward items from the Sphinx. Tenmin Tsukishiro was quite surprised. She even has absolute plunder, a cheating skill that lets you steal dungeon rewards. No wonder she's the notorious phantom thief of the virtual world. The unbelievable monster screamed, what? Why is my body disintegrating? The trial has only just begun. Now solve my riddle. In the morning it walks on 4 legs, at noon on 2, and in the evening. Seconds later it was defeated. Tenmin Tsukishiro sneered, "You call yourself a hero? How noble." Akin Hashimori retorted, "So what if it's absolute plunder? If it's used for a good cause, what's wrong with that?" System display distributing rewards. The second trial of the sandstorm has completed. Distributing rewards. Akin Hashimori received a pile of gold. And in addition, a mana spring. She wondered, what is this? A demon spring. Tenmin Tsukishiro held out his hand. "I'll take this." Akin Hashimori surprised. "Wait, mana aura." She resigned herself to the truth. "I had my doubts, but just as I thought." He said, "I'll explain the mana aura later. Hand it over, then you can take the rest." Akin Hashimori drooled. "What do you take me for?" Tenmin Tsukishiro asserted. "You can take everything else. I need nothing but that." The item in his hand pleased him. Thanks to her, he got it so easily. Demon Spring Retrieval 1-3 complete. Because this is the first retrieval, you receive a special temporary buff, talent supplement, greatly increased chance to obtain high-tier skills for 1 hour. Tenmin Tsukishiro tossed it up once. Then he sliced it across with his kai. System display. Soul Hunter Sword is absorbing the mana aura. Attack increased by 3-5. Current Soul Hunter attack 30+9. Akin Hashimori asked curiously, "By the way, how did you know about my skill?" He gave a convenient excuse. "I have a skill that lets me learn an opponent's skills." She thought to herself, he has some flashy skills. He's pretty handsome too. I can smell money from him. Cut to a little later, the two had returned to the rendezvous point. Masayoshi Yakumo demanded, "Where did you two go together in the middle of the night?" Akin Hashimori embarrassedly protested, "Hey, what do you mean?" Tenmin Tsukishiro cheerfully said, "I was just giving her a few life tips." She confirmed, "Yes, they were really helpful." Yakumo doubted, "Life tips for her?" He folded his arms and warned, "I acknowledge your contribution, but I'm the leader of this team. From now on, any unilateral actions without my permission are forbidden." Tenmin Tsukishiro complied. "All right, I know. What's gotten into him all of a sudden?" Later they went on the raid. "Our goal is to conquer this dungeon and obtain the Aldoria gem. Avoid wasting unnecessary energy and time. Just quickly take down the boss." Then the four entered the dungeon. Tenmin Tsukishiro surveyed the surroundings. "They've crowded us right from the entrance. The boss must be nearby." He drew his weapon. "Looks like it's time to grind some points." System display. Effect of the throw skill level 3 is activating. 6 mummy monsters have been defeated. You received 42 points. Masayoshi Yakumo widened his eyes in surprise. He not only uses swordsmanship but also spear techniques. "If I recruit this guy, I'll be rich." He stepped forward to praise, "Impressive skills. One day I'll recruit you into my guild." Tenmin Tsukishiro warned, "Stop ogling around. Focus on what's ahead." Akin Hashimori moved closer and questioned, "Actually, you aren't D rank, are you?" "No matter how I think about it, this makes no sense." He replied indifferently, "If that were true, I wouldn't have been able to enter this D rank restricted gate, right?" After a while they arrived before a rock. Jinyazaki asked, "Is that the boss?" The rock began to crack along several lines. A moment later, a loud noise rang out. And a giant monster appeared, a sand golem. "This one looks troublesome." Yakumo charged in to strike first. "Once it takes my taunt, everything will be easy as pie. Come on." The golem's fist lunged forward. Seconds later it smashed through his shield. Masayoshi Yakumo was knocked flying. Jinyazaki gaped in shock. Wait, the taunt skill had no effect. At this time the golem was charging toward him. Jinyazaki launched an attack and shouted, "Get away from me." But his move had no effect on it. The golem continued closing in. In the end, Jinyazaki was also knocked away like Yakumo. Akin Hashimori began to panic. "Impossible, it's not dying, is it?" Tenmin Tsukishiro thought, "No way a golem from a D-rank gate could be this strong. Could the mana spring we retrieved earlier have become stronger due to leaked mana aura from it?" Tenmin Tsukishiro quickly urged, "Stay alert, run to the opposite side fast. We'll do exactly what we did in the battle with the Sphinx." She replied, "Got it." At that moment, the golem began leaping toward the two of them. It slammed its two hands into the ground, sending rocks flying everywhere. System display. Perception skill effect level 11 activating. Agility skill effect level 11 activating. Tenmin Tsukishiro nimbly closed in on the golem. He thought to himself, no matter what, the golem's true body is still its core. He calculated, as long as we don't destroy it, it'll keep regenerating. We have to finish it with a single strike. System display: using Soul Hunter, release soul. Range and attack temporarily greatly increased. Tenmin Tsukishiro used the 1-point slash technique again. The golem was knocked down by him. Tenmin Tsukishiro urged, Hashimari, rush in fast, there's its core, steal it. She complied. Akin Hashimori's skill, Absolute Plunder Level 4, is activating. Tenmin Tsukishiro thought, the golem runs on magical engineering as its power source. In other words, all we need to do is seize ownership of it and force its functions to shut down, show them the skill of the phantom thief of the virtual world. The system suddenly warned, distance to target too great, plunder failed. Tenmin Tsukishiro and Akin Hashimari both started in shock. The golem was reviving. She asked fearfully, what do we do now? He offered a solution, run. Then the golem gave chase with all its might. System notice, strength level 11 activating. Throw skill effect level 11 activating. Tenmin Tsukishiro threw a spear. It flew at the golem and slowed it down. Then another spear. System notice, adjustment of the talent, useless 1. Your skills are blooming from fighting strong enemies. You have acquired the ultra-rare skill Weapon Swap Level 1. Now you can instantly swap weapons from your inventory. Tenmin Tsukishiro was surrounded by a strange aura. System display, temporary destructive power increased by 3% after weapon swap. He quickly executed the 1-point slash. The golem bent down but missed Tenmin Tsukishiro. He watched the weapon transforming in his hand. Weapon Swap Level 1 was activating. It displayed, you've obtained Weapon Swap Level 2. You are acquiring Weapon Swap Level 3. You are acquiring Weapon Swap Level 4. The weapon in your hand keeps leveling up. You've obtained Weapon Swap Level 5. Tenmin Tsukishiro continued his strike. The swapped weapon's destructive power increased by 15%. The blow hit the golem's chest. He kept fighting, swapping to Soul Hunter. You received Weapon Swap Level 6. Weapon Swap Level 7. You received Weapon Swap Level 8. The swapped weapon's destructive power increased by 24%. Tenmin Tsukishiro struck the golem head-on. System notice, swapping weapon to returning spear. You have received Weapon Swap Level 9. Weapon Swap Level 10. Akin Hashimori stood stunned. The swapped weapon's destructive power increased by 30%. Bonus effect granted upon reaching Weapon Swap Level 10. Tenmin Tsukishiro delivered the finishing blow. Now you can infuse a small amount of magic into the swapped weapon. His spear lunged straight for the golem's core. It instantly exploded into many fragments. System notice, sub-boss magic golem defeated. Awarded 428 points, total 744 points. Akin Hashimori beside him praised, you're pretty good, you know. System display, completion reward issued. Received the Aldoria gem. Tenmin Tsukishiro held it in his hand. Item description, name, Aldoria gem, rank D++. Material classification, contains the soul of a queen who burned her own life force. Suddenly Akin Hashimori anxiously said, I shouldn't just stand here. What about the others? Tenmin Tsukishiro thought to himself, I feel it's best not to help those guys, but... The two quickly ran outside to check. Even if they'd been hit directly by the golem, they'd be fine with recovery items. Suddenly both of them froze, realizing someone was over there. What's going on? In the corner, someone was being pinned down. A familiar voice rang out, not bad, I didn't expect just the two of you to take down both a sphinx and a golem. Rikuhimuro asked, you're holding the demonic spring, right? Don't play dumb with me unless you want to end up like these guys. Jinyazaki lay dead in a corner. Akin Hashimori covered her mouth in horror. Tenmin Tsukishiro thought calmly, they struck while we were weakened after fighting the golem. Their target is the demonic spring. These must be assassins sent by Igarashi of Black Knot. Rikuhimuro taunted, you're well informed, huh? Then you must know we're from a villainous guild, right? He confirmed, yes, I'm the one holding the demonic spring. If you want it, try taking it by force. His gaze scanned carefully. This guy was likely sent on Igarashi's orders, the traitor to humanity. I need to draw the enemy's attention onto myself. Rikuhimuro sneered, you're exhausted after fighting the Sphinx and Golem, so why pretend to be tough? I'll kill this guy first, then the girl. Tenmin Tsukishiro turned to Hashimori and asked, can you kill him? Akin Hashimori startled and replied, me. She feared inwardly, you want me to kill him? You want to be a hero, right? This guy is a murderer from a villain guild. Tenmin Tsukishiro counseled, you can't save the world without getting your hands dirty. Rikuhimuro charged excitedly, come on, jump in. Tenmin Tsukishiro activated a skill, Super Sense level 11. He nimbly dodged an attack, Agility skill level 11 activated. Next he activated Martial Arts skill level 11. Tenmin Tsukishiro kicked him upwards from below. Rikuhimuro quickly stepped back to gain momentum. He angrily charged forward, you bastard, I'll kill you first, then that girl. Tenmin Tsukishiro thought, there's no way Black Knot's people act alone. His comrades were surely dealt with by this lunatic. I can't let him live. A streak of spirit energy sliced across Rikuhimuro's throat. Tenmin Tsukishiro performed the technique, Kirishima Flow 1./. When it was over, he sheathed his weapon. Akin Hashimori rushed over in a panic. You killed him? That's too much. You only needed to subdue him. Tenmin Tsukishiro retorted, you think I could have just subdued him? He killed Yakumo and Yazaki when they couldn't fight back. He felt a twinge of regret. Those two might become villains in the future, but right now they're just ordinary hunters who haven't done anything wrong. Then Tenmin Tsukishiro wondered, if they stayed with me, would they change? After thinking that, he turned and left. Let's go, our business here is finished. Scene change, night had fallen and two people were waiting. One of them quickly spoke first, so it's over. They were very grateful, thank you for your efforts. Since Lord Sengoku is currently abroad, I came on his behalf. He got to the point about the reward. After taking it, he asked curiously, confirmed, by the way, what happened to the others? Tenmin Tsukishiro answered matter-of-factly, they died while clearing the dungeon. I understand, noted. Suddenly a system panel appeared, catching Tenmin's attention. It displayed Limit Break Quest Rank D objective, collect demonic spring sources 1-3, completion rewards 1.3x stat increase per level, maximum level of specified skills +2, unlock new category in the reversal of Karma Shop, unlock a new special effect for the talent adjustment, useless 1. 2 more items remain. His expression darkened slightly. There was almost no information about the remaining items. Sengoku's role would be extremely important. Suddenly Akin Hashimori offered a box. Here, this is for you. She generously said, you saved me several times today. I don't have a key, but if you sell this, it should fetch a good price. Tenmin Tsukishiro looked at it in bewilderment. A while later he returned home. At home, time to check the rewards. System displayed the item description. Name, unidentified container locked, rank C opening will grant a random item. A random box. He felt a bit pleased, didn't expect a thief to give me something this valuable. Tenmin Tsukishiro put his hand in his pocket to take something out. And the moment he received it, he pulled out a key. The key he took from Hiroki Gondo's office reacted, a key inlaid with a magic crystal. He wondered, I wonder what's inside. A blazing red light appeared as the box opened. Tenmin Tsukishiro was quite surprised, a vial. The system showed the item description, name, Blood Tier Unicorn Elixir, effect. When used on an item, it awakens the hidden power of that item, this vial. Tenmin Tsukishiro recalled, growth-type items were once used by a Legion commander, the defense ring. He was slightly surprised, currently it's sealed and cannot unleash its true power, but Tenmin Tsukishiro dripped 1 drop of the elixir onto the ring. I now have an item that can awaken its true potential. System display, target item has been restored to its true form. The seal on the unique item defense ring has been lifted. Tenmin Tsukishiro joyfully held it, received ultra-rare item, unbeatable ring growth type. Scene changed to the high-rise apartment side. Yuna shouted, hey sis. Shuriken couldn't stop laughing about Yuna being rejected. Yuna said embarrassedly, why hasn't he contacted me yet? He was the one who asked for my number first. Shurigane speculated. You said he predicted the anomalous gate and even cleared it himself, right? She confirmed. If he hadn't been there, the rest of our group definitely wouldn't have survived. Shurigane found it hard to believe. Really? Yuna thought to herself. Honestly, I almost died, but if I tell her that, she'd freak out. She's always been overly protective of me. Her expression slightly fell. Suddenly Shurigane asked, You know the guild is holding the hunter selection exam in a week, right? Yes. She was curious. Why don't you call him? Yuna blurted in surprise. What? Shurigane sat up and tied her hair. I'll pay for the meal. Everyone should get together. Yuna protested embarrassedly. No way, I definitely won't call him. How could you suggest that? Shurigane revealed her intention. I plan to recruit him into our guild. Scene changed to outside on the street. Tenman Tsukishiro walked while observing his surroundings. This place hadn't changed at all. Yes, everything was exactly as before. He opened his phone to check notifications. Tenman Tsukishiro was stunned. Sengoku had sent payment, bank deposit of 12 million yen. 12 million yen, including the dungeon sweep reward and money from selling magic crystals. This was the most money he'd ever earned as a hunter. He sighed, but to buy decent gear here, this still wasn't enough. All right, let's wander around and see. A quarrel caught Tenman's attention. Hey, you, pay me now. Do I have to beat you up for you to get it? A big guy was beating someone in front. I told you I'll pay you back. Don't play me for a fool. How many times do you think I've been fooled by that story? Tenman Tsukishiro assessed silently. From his clothes, he looked like a craftsman from this district. I'm serious. I promise I'll pay you, please. Suddenly he realized something. Wait a moment, that man. The big guy ignored him. Looks like reasoning with you is pointless. You're done for today. Tenman Tsukishiro's hand rested on the man's shoulder. Tenman Tsukishiro said, Excuse me, can I have a moment? The man snapped and turned. Who the hell are you, his friend? Without further words, he punched the guy, sending him flying. The man flew straight into the statue. Tenman Tsukishiro sat down and greeted. Nice to meet you. The boy wondered, You know me? Yes, I know you. The only craftsman from the junk world, the one who makes glitched items. You're Mochizuki Koji, a hunter. Building a good relationship with him will bring many benefits. Tenman Tsukishiro reached out to help. Need a hand? After all, he's the only person in this country who can make growth-type items. Scene cuts to the warehouse. Mochizuki Koji asked, You're a customer, right? Tenman Tsukishiro confirmed. Yes, but why did they beat you up like that? He grinned foolishly. It's nothing serious. He thought to himself, nothing serious, looking like that and saying it's nothing. Mochizuki Koji recounted. About a year ago, a guild called Seihin led by a man named Ryoma Ashino emerged. Most of the craftsmen here had to borrow money to keep their workshops running. He said angrily, The problem is Ashino's crew uses near-fraudulent contracts to seize our items, pile debts on us, and turn us into slaves. We're just craftsmen. We have very little fighting ability, so we can't do anything but endure it. Mochizuki Koji cheerfully reassured, But don't worry, they've only been harassing us for a month. I'll endure another year if needed. Tenman Tsukishiro was speechless. The guy's lost his mind. He hasn't changed at all since I returned. Flashback. Mochizuki Koji was arrested. He kept muttering, I must keep forging gear, I must keep making the best equipment. Then Mochizuki Koji shouted, My hammer, if only I still had my old hammer. Some people whispered, Is that the eccentric fellow everyone's been talking about? Suddenly Mochizuki Koji grabbed the fabric of Tenman's coat. He cried out in a panic, My old hammer, it's been waiting for me all this time, sitting in the corner of that dark warehouse. He kept urging, It's waiting for me, come on, let's go. Mochizuki Koji babbled on, My hammer, I need my hammer. Tenman Tsukishiro sighed, My goodness, the man really isn't normal. He wondered, why was he arrested? Kyoya Hidaka explained, I heard he assaulted some refugees and stole their jewelry, supposedly to craft equipment or something. Back in the present, Tenman Tsukishiro understood. Back then I thought he was just rambling, but if what he said was actually true. Tenman Tsukishiro asked, Is there an old hammer around here? Mochizuki Koji was surprised. How do you know about that? There really is one. He asked, Where is it now? The boy stammered. Ah, that Ashino guy, he took it. Hearing that, Tenman Tsukishiro propped his chin and thought, this is getting complicated. I was hoping I could return that hammer to him. Mochizuki Koji cheerfully suggested, you can get it back if you pay off the debt, but it's nothing special, don't worry about it. Tenman Tsukishiro pressed, how much do you owe? He replied, about 10 million yen. He froze, seriously. Mochizuki Koji then remembered, by the way, do you need me for something? He answered bluntly, there's only one reason a hunter visits a craftsman. I want to commission a piece of equipment. Mochizuki Koji glanced nervously behind him, but right now that's a bit difficult. He gestured with his hand, they're back. A few brazen guys walked in calling, hey Mochizuki. The snitch from earlier, boss. One of them pointed at Tenman Tsukishiro, it's him. Ryoma Ashino declared flatly, so you're the one who caused trouble for my men. He hemmed them in, who do you think you are, coming onto my turf and causing trouble? Ashino threatened, if you don't want to die for sticking your nose into things that aren't your business, get out. Tenman Tsukishiro noticed the emblem on his shirt and felt a vague recognition. He felt like he'd seen this guy somewhere before. In the next moment he activated a skill, used memory search skill level 10. Kyosuke appeared and said, it seems some people are trying to curry favor with me. The badge matches the one he's holding, keep this badge on you. Tenman Tsukishiro immediately took out his phone, now I remember. Ashino stepped up close to him, are you really going to waste an opportunity like this? Get out of here. Tenman Tsukishiro calmly listened to the phone, yeah, it's me, I have something to take care of, can you give me a hand, right now I'm. His expression faltered for a moment, hey. He ordered, you guys give him a hand, looks like he could use some help. But Tenman Tsukishiro held the phone out, this person wants to speak with you. Ashino frowned, what the hell are you babbling about in a situation like this? Still he answered the call, hello, this is Sengoku, who is this? A moment later Ashino realized, yes sir, understood. He hurriedly signaled to his men, that's enough. After that the others warmly greeted Tenman Tsukishiro. Wow, if you know Lord Sengoku you should have said so earlier. Later Tenman Tsukishiro was holding the old hammer in his hand. He turned and asked, do you mean this? He quietly took the medicine out of his pocket. Tenman Tsukishiro calculated, even after using it this time there should still be a few drops left. He quickly dropped a single drop onto the hammer. System notification, the target item has returned to its original form. Obtained unique item, Daedalus Hammer. Tenman Tsukishiro held the hammer, brimming with power. Mochizuki Koji's eyes lit up with admiration. He wondered, but why? Tenman Tsukishiro didn't let him touch it. Your debt is 10 million yen. He declared, I've paid off your debt and taken this as part of the deal. That means this hammer now belongs to me. Mochizuki Koji hurriedly pleaded, wait, I'll do anything, just let me hold that hammer. Tenman Tsukishiro reached into his coat and pulled something out, if you want it that badly. He presented a contract, then sign this contract and officially work under me, how about that? The contract was immediately snatched up by Mochizuki Koji. And he quickly signed it. He then took the hammer from Tenman Tsukishiro's hand as swift as a gust of wind. Mochizuki Koji excitedly tapped it a few times. The man standing beside him reminded, Mochizuki, don't forget our contract either. He warned, now that you've got your tool back, you also have to forge the weapons we ordered. The hammer slowly descended. Ashino was puzzled, what now, get to work. Mochizuki Koji demanded, at the very least I need an S-rank mana stone and it has to be a fairly large one, you bastard. Ashino exploded, our equipment deliveries are behind schedule and because of that we're about to lose ownership of the gate we fought so hard to secure. Mochizuki Koji retorted, I don't care if it's F-rank gear or anything else, gather whatever you can and have me forge it. He said, it has to be a large gate. Ashino reacted helplessly, this gives me a headache. Tenman Tsukishiro stepped forward and cut in, that gate is only C-rank, he confirmed. Yes, we were supposed to complete its conquest this week, but because of this guy the whole plan has fallen apart. He put forward a condition, in that case I'll assist you as a support hunter. He was surprised, I don't mean anything by this, but what's your hunter rank? Tenman Tsukishiro replied confidently, D rank. A short while later, they arrived at the teleportation gate. Ashino stared in bewilderment at the scene before him. In theory, I'm also D rank, but Tenman Tsukishiro alone had defeated all the surrounding monsters. He incredulously wondered, what the hell is that? Who on earth is that guy?